Fallout New Vegas is many things. A pinnacle of storytelling, an absolute blast of a game, and an open world RPG that offers you any number of builds to go for. And even to this day, its gameplay, for all of its flaws, does manage to hold up and create a very fun experience. It just suffers from one major flaw, in my opinion, which is this game looks like shit. I mean, not really. The game actually looks fine, but, we're a little rough around the edges, right? Even for its time, you could argue it wasn't exactly the best looking, though it was serviceable. But these days, our craggy exteriors over there, all the broken up bits, the way our textures don't really align sometimes, the game can be rough at best. And so we need to find a solution to this problem. Now, one perfectly reasonable solution is you go ahead and you install any number of wonderful graphics mods to make the game look pretty, have better particle effects, everything you could ever want. But, that's only one way of solving this problem. There's another perfectly valid way of dealing with the fact that maybe New Vegas doesn't look as good as you want it to. Stop looking. Just don't. But of course, to do that, we would have to put on some sort of blindfold and go through all of New Vegas without the ability to see it all, which is a terribly difficult prospect. The exact prospect we aim to do today. And so I welcome you to come with me on this journey where rather than beat New Vegas properly and with our eyes under the light of the coming sun, we will instead seek to beat New Vegas in the darkness. To beat Fallout New Vegas blindfolded. Hi, post-intro Bocce here. I'm just going to sit here with Chief Hanlon for a second and explain what exactly is happening here. So this is a blindfolded speedrun of Fallout New Vegas. It's technically an any percent run because I do clip out on a few spots and use a couple of glitches just to help us out. For the most part, it's pretty glitchless though, just because doing glitches that would help us without our eyes is really rough, but it will have a few along the way that'll be pretty noticeable. But otherwise, we're playing through the game to finish with Yes Man, kind of as per normal. The next part of this will explain a bit more what that means if you need it. So this run is going to consist a lot of me going back over the VOD and just commentating on what I was doing, why I was doing it, what the goal was, and where the little mistakes are. So you'll have that full commentary. If you don't want the commentary version and you just want to see the raw VOD as it was streamed, I will be posting that tomorrow on the channel just to also give a bit more proof. I'm not going to cut anything out of this VOD, but that run has the full audio and whatnot for what I was saying at the time, so if you care about that, you can go ahead and go see it. Or you can go over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Karabachi, and see it there, but I want it on YouTube just because Twitch's VOD viewer is rough, as I think we all are pretty familiar. But that is what this run is going to be. It takes about 2 hours, but this is actually my 4th completed run. I have the VOD of the original run, which was about 4 hours. That run was really rough. I had to come up with a lot of stuff on the fly, as things I had planned just didn't work out. And it includes some really bad moments, like 40 minutes of me running into a wall. So I wasn't super happy with it, but it is the first blindfolded run as far as I can tell. I've seen some videos of other people online doing Fallout New Vegas blindfolded, but they do it like with a friend who's guiding them and what to do. I don't know, that doesn't count for me, right? Like, that's kind of cheating, and I've never even seen one of those finished. It's usually just like a silly thing people do as a one-off, which is fine for what it is, but I wanted the full run, the full thing, just me, and I finally got it. So I do have the VOD for that first run. If you want to see that, let me know, comment it, hop into Twitch, yell at me for it. I can go ahead and upload it. I'm not going to commentate it like this one, but it'll just be the raw VOD, and you can see. And it's probably important for history, so it'll probably happen. But with that, I'm going to let you all get into the run. There's going to be a little bit of post-editing Bocce coming in just to say, hey, here's what we're doing with Yes Man. You can skip over him if you know what's happening with Yes Man. But yeah, go ahead and enjoy. But before we do, Chief Hamlin, you know too much. Get him out of here. Have fun. Hi, so pre-run bocce here actually. I want to come in and just give you the broad overview of what we need to do to finish the game through Yes Man and the major goals we need to accomplish to do that. As I'm going through the run and I'm explaining what the tricks are, I'm going to be focused a lot on the mechanics of how I'm doing something blindfolded, which means quite often I might miss a little moment of like, hey, here's why we're doing this. And so I just want to make sure we have this broad overview at the start to help us out with that. If you're already familiar with kind of the glitchless run and the any percent run for New Vegas, you really don't need to watch this, or even if you just know what Yes Man requires of you to actually finish the game, then you can skip ahead, get to the actual run. But I'm going to give the brief rundown of what we're going to do. So to start off, we need to reach Black Mountain. Black Mountain is the gateway to us getting to McCarran and eventually the Strip. So we need that, and along the way, we're going to go ahead, grab a couple of key locations to help us, mainly Hidden Valley, as well as Sloan. Sloan is less important on its own, but Sloan has really good sound information because of Snuffles the mole rat, and so it's really easy to know exactly where we are and use that to map the rest of our fast travels. So Sloan is really good for that. Additionally, Black Mountain, as well as getting us to McCarran, is also going to be our way to getting to El Dorado substation later. So it's just a super useful location and kind of the best way to get to Vegas. We could take the crazy line through the Cazadors or through the Death Claws to get there. It's just not worth it, so we're not going to bother with it. After we reach Black Mountain, we go to Camp McCarran. Camp McCarran is going to be our way to get to the Strip. In any percent, you would fly over and get to the monorail. In Glitchless, you would climb up a bunch of invisible stuff and get to the monorail that way. For us, we're going to have to walk in like it's old school, and we're just going to make it happen, but it's not that bad. However, before we do that, we're actually going to go to Red Rock Canyon. I'll explain this a bit more in the run, but essentially, there are so many fast travel points concentrated around McCarran once we go into the Strip that getting back to McCarran later to get to Red Rock would be very difficult. And so instead, we're going to do that now just to make fast traveling easier for us. So we're going to go to Red Rock. That involves pulling this really large, convoluted loop around a bunch of mountains to avoid soft locks, but I'll get into more of that into the run. Just know we need to go there and walk around for a bit because that's going to fulfill a requirement later to finish the game with Yes Man. Once we've done that, we can go ahead, go to the Strip, and in the Strip, we're going to do kind of the usual stuff. We're going to kill Benny using Black Widow. That's going to get us the Platinum Chip, as well as Yes Man himself. Talk to Yes Man, he's going to tell us, hey, you need to go see all the tribes. And we're going to go, all right, cool, well, we already met the cons, so that's nice. Now, let's go ahead and go finish that up. So we're going to take care of House, and by that I mean we're going to kill House, because we need House out of the way for Yes Man eventually. So take care of House, get him out of the way, and while we're on the Strip, we're going to go to the Gamora to say hi to them, and then we're going to go to the Ultralux, say hi to them. That counts as meeting them for Yes Man. Job's done. And then we can move to number 5 here, which is we need to go meet the Boomers and meet the Brotherhood. So we're going to leave the Strip, go see the Boomers at their airfield. To do that, we have to dodge all of their artillery, which is kind of difficult, but really it's actually not that bad. So we just do that. And then we're going to go back to Hidden Valley, which again, we got on the way to Black Mountain. And so we go there, say hi to the Brotherhood, and by say hi, I mean I'm going to shoot them with a grenade launcher and run away. It's about that easy. From there, we report to Yes Man. We say, hey, we met everybody, and House is dead. Yes Man goes, wow, that's really cool. Go watch this presentation about how I've upgraded the Securitrons. Obviously, I'm not going to watch that, so who cares? We skip through it. After we've skipped through that, he's going to say, all right, well, go upgrade everything, and then we'll go to the dam. And I go, okay, cool. Go back to Black Mountain, go over to El Dorado Substation to upgrade, and then we're done. So we reach the dam, and the dam took some doing, but it's definitely possible. It's actually not that bad. It's one of the easier portions of the run, in my opinion. So we go through the dam, we reach the Legates camp where we have to skate around some some Legionnaires. And my Securitron sadly died in this run, so it was much more difficult than it should have been, but normally if you have your Securitron, you can get through it pretty easily. I actually have a new strat that will be probably in the next iteration of this run that makes it even easier, but for now we fight them and you just kind of make it work with a grenade launcher. It's not that bad. But you reach the Legate. The whole time in the run we are leveling up speech just to tell the Legate, please go. And he points his little fingers together and goes, okay, I'll get out. And he gets out of there, and that's that. You go talk to Oliver, and we could give Oliver the same treatment, but instead we're going to throw him off the dam just because I think it's funny more than anything, even though I can't see it, of course. And so we throw him off the dam, and that's number 9. We win the game, and finally we get to open our eyes and see what's going on. So, as my flyover has managed to discover Crimson Caravan, you'll see those guys later in the run. I'm going to go ahead and let you get into things. Have a good one. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be going over things in kind of this overview way as we go through. I'm not going to be talking the whole time as I'm doing it. I'm just going to be letting the game play for the most part. I've cut out the old commentary from me during the run just so it's not going over my voice now as I'm speaking. So we have to include this first part of the game just to get things started. It has the pop-ups to let the speedrun mods know that it's verifiable because it shows all my add-ons and whatnot. The only ones that are allowed are the speedrun mod to help stabilize crashes a little bit. It helps and it doesn't, but it gets us in. So we start up the run, Blindfold is on of course, and we're going into dock. Now if you're familiar with speedruns of New Vegas, normally we do these speedruns either in Italian or in English. However, the reality of doing it blindfolded is that I need to be able to hear what I'm dealing with and understand it more effectively. And so I go with English. It makes things as easy as possible, even though it loses us probably like 30 seconds over the run. It's not that big of a deal. So we're going through dock here. It's pretty stock and standard dock. You could ask basically any New Vegas speedrunner to go through this first part of dock blindfolded, and they wouldn't struggle at all. So we tell Doc our name is Courier. Doc is going to go ahead, jabber for a while as I try to fill dead air, and then gives us a little device to help pick how we look. And we're going to have to pick that we are a woman here. You could technically kill Benny a different way and have life be kind of okay. The short answer is, though, it's much easier to be a woman when it comes to killing Benny because you get Black Widow. So we press down once to select woman, down again to get to next, hit it 4 more times to reach the end, and then just hit yes by going down with our arrow keys. For the most part, if I'm in a menu, you'll see me slide my mouse off so it doesn't get in the way, and then I start using my arrow keys and enter to select things. So Doc finishes talking to us, and then what we can do is after Doc is out of the way, we just kind of list for his steps. We go forward and then right, followed by forward again, and then left is going to get us onto the vigor tester. And then we can go ahead, back up a step, tap over a step to the left, and that gets us the vigor tester. And so we go down, we're going to select 2 strength, 4 perception, 10 endurance, and 9 charisma, just so we are strong and charismatic. We're going to go to the right until Doc finishes this line. Then we're going to go backwards, followed by back left with a little jump to get over a chair. And then we're just waiting here. Doc is going to sit in his chair. We line up based off how we hear his chair just to make sure we're in the right spot. After that's done, we go a little forward, a little left, go forward again, look down, and we get to use his couch. It's pretty forgiving, all things considered. So Doc gives us this questionnaire. We're just going to spam through because it doesn't matter for us. We're going to reset anyways. So we spam our top option with mouse and enter. And then once we reach the menu, we're going to reset, go down 5 times to get medicine. And then we're going to go to the bottom and press up twice to get speech. And then we'll take survival afterwards just because. So we'll skip through some dialogue by quick saving and quick loading. This is kind of an any % thing. And then we'll go down to the bottom, go up 3, select skilled, and that gets us out of that.
Come with me, I'll see you out.
So as soon as we stand up and we talk to Doc, there's actually 2 different angles Doc can send us out at. One of them is a little bit faster, and you'll know it because we get a metal sound. Sadly, we got the bad angle here, so it takes an extra second to go to the right and check for the metal sound. We say no to hardcore mode because that's awful. And once we know we're not in the fast one, we can go ahead, hold backwards, which will get us caught on the vigor tester, go forward a little bit to get off it, and then go right a little bit and back again to get through that doorway. So long as you don't go too far right, you'll end up in the doorway. Right here, I'm going back and back right, just to kind of make sure I'm in the corner, and we use the door, we get out. Once we're outside, I'm going to wait a moment for some DLC pop-ups for Old World Blues, and then I'm going to open my inventory, and I'm going to start arranging things. So it starts me off on the weapons here. I just double check by equipping the pistol. And we want the grenade launcher, which is the second option. Sometimes the game doesn't like to actually give you your menu when you go into one, so you'll see me swap back and forth just to try to get my marker back. So I'm going to go ahead, equip my Mercenaries grenade launcher to 5, go ahead, equip the armored vault suit after getting the menu back, and then we're going to put on our doctor's bag, our stems, and our super stems. At this point, I'm pretty familiar with how it all works, so it's not too bad. But I always do a little double check here, because a doctor's bag and a super stim you can use at full health, but a regular stim you can't. And so that just lets me check everything by blasting myself in the feet. And then we're going to fast travel to Good Springs. For the most part, if you fast travel somewhere, you will be slightly lower and to the left of what you want. If we go forward, we get Prospector Saloon just like that. We're going to turn around, try to get out. Sunny Smiles catches me, no big deal. We're just going to keep turning and get outside. We want the angle this door gives us to go for our first marking point, because otherwise we get caught on a lot of rocks. And so now we're just going to jump to the left. And we're going for Yangtze Memorial here as our next point. As a general overview for how this run works and how I routed it, basically we jump from one fast travel point to another, because fast travel points are consistent in where they drop you and the angle you're at when you get there. And so it just makes the most sense to do that. It's going to ask us if we want to rebuild. We're going to say no, and we're just going to keep going. Now, most of these you're going to see me walk for. I jump for this one because the terrain is bad and it's easy to get stuck in places. Plus, there's these coyotes that attack you, and if you're moving slowly, it's not going to go very well for you. Here, I can tell I can't jump, so I know we're stuck on something, so I start spamming to get over. And that's going to get us the Yangtze. Once you reach Yangtze, the coyotes are kind of outside of their chase range, and they're going to return, which is nice, because it means we can fast travel. But again, we don't want to jump too much, because if you jump, your movement is inconsistent because you'll land in different places. So even though it's faster, it can mess up your angles and you don't want to do it. In this case, our target is close enough and it's big enough and the terrain requires it, so we're going to jump. Once we're here, though, we're going to go ahead, go forward. We know this isn't Good Springs because Good Springs has a big wooden sign that you can hear. This place has nothing. And so we're going to go to the left until we get this drop. After we do the drop, we're just going to go forward. And if we just go forward from here, a few things are going to happen. One, we're going to drop off a little ledge. And then after that little ledge, if you listen to the right side, we're going to hear a fire. That just tells me we're going the right direction. We're not actually changing our input here. All we want to do is go forward. So we get that little drop. And then if we just keep going forward, we will slide off this rock and get to that fire up there on the right. Once we're past the fire, we're listening for 2 drop sounds in decently rapid succession. They don't need to be super fast, but we're just listening for 2 drop sounds. As soon as we get the second drop, we can start holding left, and that's going to get us the Sloan. So coming up here, we're about to get drop number 1. We're going to slide off this tree, and then we're going to get drop number 2, and we're going to start going left. That's going to get us the Sloan, which is our next jumping off point to get to Black Mountain. Now, once we're at Sloan, a couple things we're going to do. We're going to first go backwards because we need to talk to Chops Lewis so he won't talk to us later. NPCs that talk to you in this run tend to be really bad because they're going to change your angle kind of uncontrollably, and so we don't want to deal with that.
If you insist,
And so we're going to talk to him, say, hey, that's cool, but let us go. We get our landing sound, so we know we're out of the dialogue. And now we're going to go ahead and find Sloan. I mess up here, and I end up grabbing Yangtze. It's not that big of a deal. Again, Yangtze has no sound, and I don't hear anything here. And so I know we're just at Yangtze. Not a huge deal. And so I mess up again, because again, like, fast traveling while blindfolded, I cannot stress how difficult it really is. In this case, I knew where we were, and so going over to Sloan, not a huge deal from there. Now that we've done that, we're going to go forward. I get a step of metal, so we go to the right, we go inside, and we turn around, and we use the door to get out. We just need this angle. So we're going to go forward, we're going to go over to that kind of collapsed rail car over here. And we want to go over the railway and just get into this rail car. I tend to go a little ways long here. For the most part, you can go as long as you want. You're stuck in this corner, and so it's just all safety. But eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the left, and we're going to go over the railroad until we are on the, like, the far side of the metal. So over these planks, and then we get into the dirt. Once we're in the dirt, we're going to go forward left, and we're going to get caught on a rock, and then we're going to go forward a little bit to get off of that rock. It's decently forgiving on how you do it. You can also just keep holding forward left, and eventually you'll slide out of it, but it takes forever. So you tap forward a little bit, you get out. And then you get up to this rock, where now what we're going to do is we're going to tap right a little bit to get off of it. I go forward there just to kind of make sure we're in the right positioning. And so we tap right a little bit, and then we go forward right. The tapping right there is inconsistent to a degree, but basically what we want to do is discover Hidden Valley, but we want to discover it on the west side of the fence like this, and not the north side where there's a hole in the fence. We'll know which one we got, because if you get the north side, you'll step on metal before you discover Hidden Valley, and so you know you got the bad one. If that happens, it's not a big deal, you just go a slightly different route. But since we got the good one, all we have to do is go forward left here, and that's going to get us to Neil's shack. As we get along this rock face, there's going to be two drop sounds that happen decently quickly with each other, just to kind of make sure we know what we're doing. It's just a natural circumstance of how the collision is here. So we get one there, and then we don't get the second one because these scorpions kind of ate it, but we know we're in the right area. I'm pretty familiar with it, we're good. So we get Neil's shack here. We're going to keep going until Neil talks to us, because again, if an NPC talks to us, our angle changes and we don't like it.
Goodbye.
So we're going to tell him goodbye, he's going to tell us goodbye, and then we're going to try to fast travel to his shack. Normally I put a quick save down before fast traveling, just in case I end up in the wrong spot. In this case, we get Neil's shack pretty easily. I go forward left here to check, and we can hear Neil's breathing, so we know we're definitely here. And so we go a little bit right to get off of his shack, and then we're going to go forward. And you can get caught on these rocks pretty easily, but they're also pretty forgiving. You see me go a little left there just because I'm used to getting caught on different things, like the rocks. And what we're doing is we're just going forward here, occasionally with a tiny bit left, but not too much because you don't want to go too far, until we hear a fire on our right, like this. And then we go forward right, and forward until we get radiation. And once we're in the radiation, we go forward, we get Black Mountain, and we're going to back up until we can fast travel. Now here I make a pretty big mess up, I would say. I, in my mind's eye, thought Black Mountain's fast travel point was above Neil's shack, like positioned slightly above it. And so I kept going too far up like this. And then I kept going back to Neil's shack. Eventually, I get out of this. But for the moment, it's just, we're going to sit here and watch me mess up because I'm stupid. Now, once I get back to Sloan, that helps me a bit, because Sloan is a bit easier to route from in general. Like, I'm pretty decent with understanding where Sloan is on the map comparatively. But again, you can see I just kind of keep messing up because of where I think Black Mountain is. End up back at the shack again. Pretty sad. Look at this dumbass. He doesn't know how stupid he is. Like, he's sitting there with a blindfold thinking he understands anything. Hate this guy. But again, to reiterate, our main objective right now is to get to New Vegas. Or really to Camp McCarran, to get us where we want to go. And Black Mountain is just a good jumping off point for that, and we're going to need it later. Plus, we have Hidden Valley for when we need that later. So here, it finally happens. I finally get the idea that I'm probably just going too far up and not far enough right. And we get it. We know it's Black Mountain because it has immediate radiation. And so we're going to back up. There's a rock you get caught on, and you can just go right to get off of the rock a little bit, then slide off. You'll lose the radiation, which tells you you're there. You wait for 2 drop sounds, and then you go to the left. And once you're going to the left, you're going to eventually get caught on another rock. It's pretty lenient in how you do it because you slide off of this other rock face. So I kind of wait for these repeated sounds, and then you're going to see me start to go back and jump. I have to jump through this part. Again, jumping makes movement inconsistent. It's faster, but you bounce off of things weirdly, and you can't really control it fully. However, we have to do it here because the terrain is unforgiving, and I have to make sure that I'm moving. If you're moving and you're able to jump, it's usually because you're actually going somewhere. If you try to move and you can't jump, you are stuck on something, and that tells us that that's happening. And so we're going to go ahead, we're going to keep jumping, and we're getting Repcon research facility here. It's a pretty big target, so even though jumping is slightly inconsistent by about like 5 to 10-ish degrees at times, it's a pretty easy discovery, no big deal. And so we get it, no issue. This line also has us go at it basically dead center, so even if we go off kilter a little bit, not a huge deal. So I make a mistake here, and I end up back at Neil's Shack. Repcon and Neil's Shack both have no sound profile when you first get to them, but by going forward and right as if this was Repcon, I can hear the fact that I'm not getting the Repcon lineups. And since I'm not getting the Repcon sounds, I know we went to the wrong spot. The only 2 spots it could be that aren't Repcon are Neil's Shack and Yangtze Memorial. I probably didn't go far enough down for Yangtze Memorial, so I'm able to figure that out decently quickly and adjust and go back to Repcon. I load the quick save here because, again, whenever you go into fast travel, you're usually down and to the right of where you're standing, and so if you put a quick save down, you can go back to the quick save and then maybe make that fast travel easier for a place you're right next to. Right here, for some reason, my enter key just stopped working. Like, I actually couldn't press enter to use the fast travel. So I had to reload the save and just go again. I used my mouse that time. It was very strange. That hasn't happened to me before, but my keyboard is also 9 years old. So, like, you know, maybe it's time I get a new keyboard. But we go forward right here, and we know it's Repcon because you'll drop. Now, in this case, I slid over the railing there a little bit, so I wasn't able to be exactly certain, but Repcon is the only place I should get a drop like that, so I keep going with it. Normally, you drop much sooner, and there's a railway line underneath there, and you'll get a big clang of metal for dropping on it, and then you know for certain, yeah, this is definitely Repcon. But we didn't get that, so I was a little uncertain, but decently trusting, because it's about the only place I would have that exact sound there. And again, the only no sound places would be Neil's Shack, which doesn't do that, as well as Yangtze Memorial, which doesn't do that. So I know we're in the right spot. And so we go forward right here until we reach the wall of McCarran. We know we're at the wall of McCarran because there's these NCR in front of us, and they start fighting the fiends. And we just keep going forward, or sorry, forward right, not forward left. But we keep going forward right here until they start fighting, and we keep their fighting on our right side. In this case, the fiends just don't show up for a long time, which really confused me, because that just doesn't happen. And so you'll actually see I wait here for quite a while until the fiends actually start fighting the NCR. But that's not really happened to me before, that they haven't started fighting, so that was strange. But not a huge deal, it just loses us some time. It is what it is. And so we're going to wait here for a while until they start fighting, and then we'll resume our path. Around there you can see me jump. That's just me making sure that I'm not like stuck on a rock completely. But I hear them pull out their guns, so I know the fighting has begun, and now we can start to change how we move. So instead of going forward right, we're going to go forward to get around these towers. Now the first tower you will just slide off, the other ones you'll get caught on like this, and so you'll see me tap left to get off of them, and then go forward. There's 2 towers you get caught on like this. And so I'm just going to do it a couple of times to get around them, as well as one extra time to be safe in case I did it early at some point. But either way, all we're doing is we're just getting caught on this big fence over here, which will catch us basically no matter how we hit it. Just like that. And so I sit here for a second, again, double check, do an extra go to the left and forward, just in case I was a little off. And then we're going to go to the right. Having that fighting happening in front of me as well helps out a lot with that. So we go right here, and then what you're going to see me do is tap forward as soon as I start to hear my footstep sounds change. This is just to double check that I am in the right area. Since my steps change, I know I basically am, but I can get a metal step there by going forward a little bit, and that just lets me know, okay, yes, definitely we are in the right area. And so we keep holding right here until our steps stop changing their sound, because that means we are in the corner of McCarran with the fuck the NCR graffiti, which is just peak. And so we get these repeated sounds, so I know we're basically in the right area. I'm going to quick save just to be safe about it. But then we're going to go forward right to get into this other corner. I'm going to tap left, and I'm going to go out. And I'm going out just to listen for one step of metal. Like that. And once I get that one step, I know that I am in the right spot and I have passed the fence. And so then all we have to do is jump over those cars, hold right, and that gets us to Camp McCarran. It's a lot, but it's really not that bad in practice. So from here, we could go right to the strip, but if we go directly to the strip, we're going to get a lot of fast travel points that make it really hard to get back here, and we don't want to do that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fast travel to McCarran, and we're just going to go to the right. And instead of going to the strip, we're going to go to the Great Khans, because the Great Khans are one of the factions we have to meet for Yes Man later to finish the game. So if we take care of them now, it makes fast traveling back later much easier, because we have to start at McCarran for this. So we go to the right here. You're going to see me jump a little bit, because you always get caught on these cars, and you need to jump over them. And so I was just waiting to hear a metal sound when I jumped. And then from there, we're just going to keep going to the right. And essentially what we're doing here is we could go to the Great Khans directly from McCarran by like going backwards and around a bunch of stuff. It's super inconsistent, and you can soft lock your game really easily on some bad collision because it's Fallout New Vegas and that's how the game works. And so we don't want to do that. So instead, we're going to take this kind of long, convoluted path where we do this big sideways S on the map to get to the Great Khans. And the start of that is to go to a little place called Hunter's Cabin, where there's a couple of powder gangers who are going to offer us their bed so we can heal up, even though right now our health is pretty good. And they offer a door that's going to be our jumping off point for the next part of the run. Now, sadly here, I get a random fiend who attacks me. Thankfully, he doesn't throw me off course or break a limb or anything, so that's nice. But he does attack me, which is rough. Over to my right, that's the powder gangers fighting. They always have to fight a couple of geckos. If they lose their fight against the geckos, we do have to reload our save in McCarran. There's nothing else to be done about it. Quite simply, we need them alive. And so we get here. I can't wait because I'm actually still being chased by that fiend from before. So we have to wait for him to get to us. And then you're just going to see me look down. I don't look down far enough on that one, but that one works. And so we get through that. I'm able to wait so we know that the powder gangers won their fight, because if not, there would be enemy geckos here. I can't do anything here, and I kind of figure out that it's probably because of a broken limb menu. And so we get out, and I fast travel. I get Neil's shack, which I know is wrong, because if I was at the powder gangers' cabin, I would hear them. And so I go ahead, I pull out my gun, just to like make sure I'm not still stuck in a load screen. I thought I was maybe in Repcon, so I went for a place to the left. Obviously, here in Good Springs, I know that's not true. So I suss out that that's Good Springs, and then if I go up from where Sloan should be, that will be Hunter's Farm, which is where we want to be. I can hear the powder gangers here, and so we're going to go forward. If we wait long enough, we'll actually hear them say, "Are you eyeballing me?" which is kind of funny in the context of the run. But I go forward left, I back up a bit, we're going to turn and use their door. We're going to go back in and out just to make sure I'm not moving my mouse when I go through. With these fast load screens, like these doors, you have to do it without moving your mouse, or you're going to be at the completely wrong angle. So we go in, and then by going back right, followed by backwards, followed by back and right again, we can then go forward right and get to their bed, which we will crouch down so we don't have to move our mouse so much, and then just look down and use it. Mouse movement, we try to keep to an absolute minimum, but sometimes you do just have to do it. You just have to try to not mess your ankle up too much. So by going left, and then forward left, forward right, forward left, and then forward, we can crouch and use their couch. Their couch makes you look directly at the door, and sitting down resets your camera to a stable position. So we always know that we're at their door, and by tapping right a little bit, we get out, and we're going to go back inside. So we peeled up, which is nice since we got attacked, and now we're going to go to the right and take the door from their kitchen to the outside. We need their kitchen door because the angle it gives us is really good for jumping a fence that's in our future. We could do this from the fast travel point technically, but it's insanely inconsistent. It was my original strategy for the run, and we lost like 3 or 4 runs just to this whole strategy. So we take the back door. The back door is infinitely better at what we want to do. So we hold left here until we get caught on a fence. There's no real sound indicator for it until you get there. You just kind of wait. But then once you get it, you'll jump while going left still. And then as soon as you land, you can just start holding back left, and that's going to get our next fast travel point. It's a little inconsistent on exactly how you hit it, but this line basically makes you hit the center of the point if it goes well. And so you don't need to worry about it. Even if you're a little bit off, like again, 5 or 10 degrees, you're aiming for the center. And so 5 or 10 degrees, you're not too far off. You're still going to hit the fast travel. So we quick save just to be extra safe. We fast travel here. Normally you can hear a bunch of powder gangers, but they aren't here right now. But we can hear the smoking Brahmin and their like windmill, so we know it's them. If you go inside, you also hear a radio, so you know it's the right place. And so we're going to turn around and go right back out. We just want the angle from the store. And so once we're outside, we quick save and we're going to go right. And we need to go right, followed by going kind of around a pit in the ground to get into some rocks, and that's going to get us to another railway line. Now, if you go right, but then you don't go far enough back, you're going to end up in the pit. But thankfully this time, things go well for us. We're not in the pit. We're up here in these rocks, which is exactly where we want to be. And so you can go back. You'll know if you're in the pit because there's a gas in there that makes a bunch of noise. We weren't in there because we couldn't hear it very much. And so we go backwards here, and we're listening usually for 1 step of planks. Now, we get it after that road, which changes our sound. And we know because I kept going back and I couldn't hear anything that we must have just missed it. And so we have to go forward, get back to the road to make sure we're in the right area. And then you're going to see me just go back again. And this is to try to, once again, get that plank sound that I should have gotten the first time, but where exactly you step can sometimes be inconsistent. So that time I get 1 step of planks, so I know we're there. And we can go forward, and we're going to get just into the dirt past the metal. So because we missed it the first time, our angle is slightly different than normal, but thankfully where we're aiming is forgiving enough that it doesn't change anything. The railway runs basically perpendicular going north, or rather it runs like parallel with the north, and so it doesn't turn at all here. And so the lineup between spot A and spot B is so similar it doesn't matter. Now right there, I get stuck on something. You know you get stuck on that because there's a repeated grass sound that happens, and it's the only place in this line where you get that specific grass sound, so it's really easy to know you got it. That's a good thing, because it just means that you're going the right way. Sometimes you miss it, and that's not a big deal, but normally you're going to hit it. Now this radiation you should always hit, so we hear the radiation, we know we're good. And now I'm listening for one step of metal, sometimes two, followed by a bunch of repeated metal sounds because we get caught on a fence and a broken down car. So there's our metal. And then right up here is our repeated metal. And so since it's repeating, we know we're good, and now we're just going to go forward. And basically all this does is it gets us around this big mountain range to my left. Now that mountain range doesn't actually have any invisible walls. You can go right over it blindfolded. I've done it before. But if you take one wrong step, you end up in some weird collision and you get soft locked. And there's no way to tell you got soft locked when you're blindfolded outside of guessing. So don't do it. It's not worth it. Now, when we're going here, we get chased by this gecko. No big deal. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. They're usually pretty chill, though. But here we have to jump. As you can see from this rock ahead of me, the case is just that there's a lot of things that can happen on this walk. And there's a lot of things you can get caught on. Sometimes you'll slide off of them, sometimes you won't. And the thing is that at the beginning of this, when I went off of that car, the angle you get going off the car can be slightly different. Sometimes you get over it early, sometimes you get over it late. And so jumping just helps you clear all the little things on the way, and our target is big enough that it doesn't matter if we're a few degrees off. And so we go forward. I'm going to hear these big corners on my left, which means we're basically there. I get a step of wood from jumping over the fence. That's a little bit less consistent because it's just whether or not you hit a fence. But that lets me know that we got the ranch. Now there's a bunch of giant mantises here, so we need to, as soon as we fast travel, hold right and start jumping. We also have to go backwards for quite a bit before we can fast travel. You see me open up wait there. Opening the wait menu just lets you know that you can fast travel because they have the same conditions. And so as soon as we're through, we hold right and we just start jumping. Sometimes they can body block you completely and they will just kill you. There's nothing you can really do about it without wasting a grenade, and we don't have enough grenades to waste one here. If that happens, reload your quick save, wait an hour, fast travel again, and hopefully they're in a different position. It works 9 out of 10 times. I've had one run that got killed here, and that was it. So it works enough, and you have enough infinite retries, it's not a big deal. Now here we're jumping and going to the right because we're aiming to get caught on a big cliff face. And as soon as I can't jump anymore, I know that we're stuck. And that means we can start doing what we need to do to get into Red Rock proper. So I keep going, I start getting weird jumps, which lets me know we're definitely in the right area. And then soon enough, I can't jump anymore, which means now all I have to do is go forward. And by going forward here, we're going to discover Red Rock. And basically what we have to do to meet the Great Khans for Yes Man is just hit a big trigger area that's down here in the floor of the canyon. However, hitting that while blindfolded is rough. Hitting it while you can see is rough. And so we do a couple things here to make sure we get it. First off, I fast travel. I get combat. The only place we should get combat from a fast travel right now is the park. And so I know that was in the right spot. And so we just go back. We get to Red Rock. Now there's a big cliff behind me. So eventually you're going to see me start slow walking. Because if we slow walk off the cliff, it doesn't hurt us. Because we fall less. If we go fast off of it, we get hurt and we die. So you see me put that quick save there. That was just the test, how close we were. So I reload it and then go slowly off so we don't get damaged. And then we go back again. And by walking backwards here and a little bit back left just to be extra safe, you more or less will always hit the trigger, provided you went far enough. So as long as you were fine enough, you're good. Now, Camp McCarran is slightly north of the Red Rock marker from where Red Rock is. So you see me try to line up with the Red Rock marker and then go there. I went too horizontal, not far enough up, which threw us off. But I can hear that there's only 2 powder gangers here. I double check here by going to Whitaker, and since I know this is Whitaker Farmstead because of the fire next to us, I can go ahead, go up to it. Wait for it. Nope. Nope. Dumbass past me is distracted. Alright, he's going to fast travel back again. I get a fast load screen there, so it's pretty safe that I didn't actually go anywhere. But I can go over, know that that's probably Hunter's Farm, and therefore this is McCarran. If you know the order of how your markers are, it's not a huge deal. Basically, provided you can find one spot where you know where you are, you don't need to worry about the rest. So by going forward, we get into McCarran, and then we're going to hold a right to get caught in another corner, followed by going forward, then right, then forward again, followed by going right again, and that's basically going to be what gets us to the door of McCarran. Now, sadly, I do mess this up for quite a while. It's easy to make some mistakes in this run, and so finally I make like what I would consider a major mistake. Fast travel mistakes, they just happen. Things like this, theoretically, should be missed. But you see me go right here off of that trailer, and then I go forward, and we're aiming to get caught on this fence up here, or not this fence, this tent up here. There's no real sound profile for any of this, you just have to go. And then after it's been long enough, you just start going. And so you get caught on this lamp here, and you need to go back and then to the right again. Now, my mistake here is I don't go back enough, and so I'm still caught on the street lamp when I turn to try to use those doors you can see over there. And so I can't really get it. I try to like move around thinking maybe I'm just like a step off of them. But I know at this point I've gone too far. We just need to reset, go back to the McCarran doors, hit it again. So I load back my save. I wasn't certain if I put a quick save at the doors, so I load back just in case there's an autosave there. Usually I'm putting my quick save in places to make it easy to reset, but you can navigate the menus pretty easily provided you memorize the order of your saves. And so I'm going to go again through this. I'm not going to commentate over this entire event happening. Just know that this happens a few times. Eventually, I'm going to start breaking up some backup strategies, and you'll hear from me in a moment when that starts happening. But until then, just enjoy this dumbass failing to get inside Camp McCarran. I mean, like, come on. This really isn't that bad of a strat. We came up with this, like, I don't know, like, this took like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, if that. Good time to also mention, as I'm saying we and whatnot, so a little bit of history time interjected in the run. So I am not the first person to have attempted this. As I mentioned in one of the intros, some people have done this with like you have a friend coaching you through the run, trying to get you to like do what they want you to do. However, some people have tried to do full blindfolded runs. A few that I can mention right off. So other friends, speedrunners, moderators of the community, like Acarian, Kung Cobra, and Radioactive 03. If you are into Fallout speedrunning, you should know about them. They are decently sizable, if nothing else. Kung is like the person who knows all relevant knowledge you could ask for. Radio is like lead mod of the Discord, aka another mod, right? All great. And they've all tried to do this, and they've had good success. For the most part, everyone makes it to McCarran or to the strip. But we never really had a run that got further than that. Until all of this, where I just decided we need to do this. And so, AK, as well as 2 Degree Kung, both of them kind of helped me come up with some of the ideas. And so, AK and I, for a decent amount of this, kind of palled around in the Discord to figure out some stuff. Here you see me punch that trailer. That's just to check to make sure I'm hitting the right spot initially. And since I know I'm hitting the right spot there, then the rest of this should be going correctly. I'm just trying to figure out what my problem is. Yeah, so AK helped me out with a lot of this section, figuring out how we were going to get through the beginning part of the airfield here, and then eventually the terminal, as well as a lot of the tops. So definitely props to AK, props to Kung, props to Radio, props to honestly the whole Fallout speedrunning community, because if not for them, I wouldn't be doing this, that's for certain. Here I just don't go far enough, even though I actually got off the lamp. I thought maybe I was holding right for too long, and that was throwing me out of position. And then you see me kind of flounder for a bit, go again. This is around the time I actually get it. So within the next few attempts, we'll get there. In terms of non-speedrunner friends as well, just to provide like full context, you know, shout out to Anita for helping me out with the Ultralux quite a bit, as well as a couple other things. Hanuma, the like purveyor of all ancient knowledge of New Vegas that I could never know, and she's routed like an insane amount of different runs, so kind of similar to Kung, just knows a lot that I don't know. That is really helpful. So definitely shoutouts to all the friends who helped me along the way. As you can see, Anita is shouting out punch strats in the chat because she has been trying to get me to actually use punches to identify when I'm at certain places, and I keep refusing to do it because I just don't find it super useful. But sometimes it has its moments. So we go again here. I still fail to get it, but we're gonna get there soon enough. This guy's stupid. Like, frankly, why are we even here at this point? Like, what? We've wasted, like, 5 minutes trying to get into McCarran. If my goal is sub 2 hours, this guy's gotta, like, give up. You know? He's gotta find someone new. So it should be right around here where we're actually getting it. You actually see me like go fast off of it that time, because at this point I'm getting a little bit upset. And so I just say, you know what, let's stop thinking and just start doing it like nothing bad is happening, which is decently valid. Sometimes you just have to turn the brain off, and turning the brain off is what gets you there. And in this case, it's no different. So we go ahead, I go a little forward here just in case I was sliding too far back. You get caught in that doorway, so it's always safe. Now, what door you come in at can be inconsistent, but as soon as you're in, if you go back left, it will normalize you again, because all the doors have the same angle. And so you can go forward to these tassels, left to the escalator, and then back left, we'll start going up the escalator, and at the top, we're going to get caught on a beam on the wall. That beam is fine. All we have to do is go forward a little, and then go left, and then go back left again to get around it.
Sorry.
If we did it correctly, we'll hear the NCR tell us to stop. So we're going to stop, quick save, and then go back and use their door. So they're shooting at us at this point, so we need to quickly go forward and then look up and use the monorail. Specifically, I cannot move my mouse as we are clicking on the monorail. That is a fast load screen. If I move my mouse there, it will be moved on the other side. And so then my entire angle will be off. We will not be getting through these doors. Now we get through here just fine. Sadly, I mess up and we end up caught behind the door here, and I am unable to figure out why it happened. Or at least I can't figure out exactly where we are. So you're going to see me flounder around with this for a bit, trying to figure out what to do. At the end of the day, all I can really do is reset. My mistake here, by the way, you can see my cat there. She's just kind of hanging out saying hello.
Morning.
Hey.
My mistake here is that I thought I was behind the door, like on the opposite side from where I am now. And so I keep adjusting as if that is what's happened. Whereas in reality, I'm on the upper side of the door, and I just didn't know it. I went too far ahead of me before going to the left. And it's really sad because every time I'm doing this, I'm actually sliding off the very edge of the door. If I would just take an extra step back, I would get through, but I don't know it. And there's no real way to know. I could get out my fists and punch, but it wouldn't tell me too much. So, finally, I say, you know what? I give up. I'm going to go ahead, reload. Now, I have an autosave here. You don't always get this autosave. And so I actually, here for a moment, assume that I am coming out of the door to McCarran. Like, the door that I came through to reach the monorail, I think I'm there. And so I keep trying to find this point, and I just can't do it. And so you're going to see me mess up with this for a while because it made my autosave really late for some reason. That's not a consistent thing. That is just Fallout New Vegas being Fallout New Vegas. Now I get through here, but as you'll notice, I move my mouse. And I already know that I move my mouse here, I'm pretty certain. And when I look over and I can't use the door, I definitely have. So we reload again, we go again. But again, I don't know that this is where I am right now, and so it's rough. And so what I end up doing here is I give up and I go back to my quick save. And that's going to be how we eventually get through. So I finally decide, nope, we're going to give it one more attempt. And it'll be around the time this one fails when we go back to quick save. Alright, so we give up. Nope. One more. Wow. You know, the quest for sub 2 really is real. So, at that point, I didn't go back to the quick save, I'm remembering now. What I did was I just went less up and to the right, because I assumed I was going too far. And so we do this again, this time doing it correctly, because I can hear all the people around me. And we're going back left until this Securitron is on our right. He doesn't quite get on my right, but he is ahead of me, so it's decently safe that we're probably in the right spot. We go down these stairs while slow walking. We have to slow walk because this guy talks to us, and if we fast walk, our angle is going to be weird.
You're not getting.
So we're going to tell him goodbye.
Watch it.
And then by holding left, we can listen to the typist behind us to kind of know where we are. I know we're a bit far forward because we would just be able to use the door normally, so we go off and we use the door. So we're finally on the strip, 45 minutes into the run. We should have been here like 15 minutes ago, but let's not worry about it. So we talk to Victor, we say cool, we go back inside and then back out to reset our camera since he talked to us. And now we're going to go to the right. You're going to see me wait for a moment because I just want Victor to be entirely out of the way to make sure he doesn't bump us. And now we're going to go forward left. Our objective at this point is to get to Benny so we can get the platinum chip, take care of him, talk to Yes Man, and really get started with the end game. So you can spam E while going forward left here to instantly go inside, but you might get the wrong door, and we don't want that. From this point on, when we enter and leave the tops until the very last time, this is the door we use. Because we want to be always going through the same angles at the same spot. So we give up our weapons to the greeter, and now we're going to go forward left to activate Benny. It gets us caught in this flower pot, so we can just chill out. You're going to see me wait for my level ups just to make sure nothing bad happens with our movement. So we wait, go 2 from the bottom to get speech again. And we're just leveling up speech to 100 for eventual use with the Legate. We're going to select Black Widow so we can deal with Benny. And then level up speech one more time. And now that we've done that, I'm going to quick save and I'm going to back up. Now, basically what we're aiming for here is there's a flower pot that lines us up for getting through the door. You'll see it on our right here, like kind of sticking out from the side of the screen. And if we jump while going back right and we don't hear metal, that means we're at the flower pot. If we hear metal while going back right, we're on some tassels that we need to get around. But since when we go right, we get metal instead of back right, we know that's the flower pot. And so we're going to turn to our left very slowly until we get the door. Again, ensuring that we're always going through this far door. And then we can turn right and get back inside. We needed to reset our position, is the long and short of it.
Now that we got
So we give up our weapons again,
good
and
time,
now we
baby.
need to get the ability to keep our weapons while we're inside. So we're going to go forward here. As long as you don't go too far,
Hello,
it's fine, because
baby.
you'll just
Welcome
slide
to
off the
the top.
counter. And then we're going to go left to talk to Swank, and we're going to tell him all about how mean Benny
Really?
was to
You got
us
something to
back
say
in
about the
middle
big
school.
boss, huh?
Tell him that Benny,
Huh?
stole
What are you
our sweet roll and everything.
That
And so we go through this dialogue, and what this
He's trying to
does
pull
is it removes the chairman, the greeter, from
Jesus, kid.
asking us for
Tell
our
you what.
weapons.
It's a room with a double.
We need to be able to keep our weapons, not because we want to
Here's your
use them,
stuff
but
back.
because we need our
Go on,
camera
then.
angle
Elevators
back.
that pass the slot machines on your left.
Our camera angle is valuable to us, and we need the correct one, and we can only get that if he doesn't talk to us. So it levels us up. We also go ahead, we grab speech again.
Hello.
Perks don't matter at this point. Technically, I should be grabbing the travel light perk to make me faster, but I don't want to mess up my lines, quite honestly, and I worry travel light will do that, so I haven't done testing with it yet, so we just avoid it. But we go ahead, we go back to our flower pot. This flower pot is the savior of this run as far as I'm concerned. Getting out through the same door every time otherwise would be impossible. In this case, I'm not able to get over the pot, and so we can't use the door. And after doing a full spin, I know we're just not where I think we are. And so you're just going to see me reload and we go again. It's not a big deal.
You're back.
I talked to
Find any-
Swank here just to make sure where I am,
All right,
because I
well,
couldn't
might wanna
remember
get a
where
move
the
on
quick
us,
save
Holmes.
was exactly. So I tried to move here,
Don't be a
not
stranger,
realizing that we
doll.
were still in a conversation.
Hello.
But I realized it pretty quickly, and so we just go again for the pot. So here we're caught on this little ledge. So you can kind of just see me yapping, trying to think about things. We jump, which gets us over, and we get back to the pot. I jump back right to check for any metal sounds, but we don't get any, so we should be good. And then by jumping right, we start to get metal, and so we just have to wait until we are just off the metal, as per usual. Now here I kind of double check once, just because I'm a little bit scared. But after double checking, we go ahead and we start going for it. Sometimes you do just slide off like that and you need the extra jump to be safe. But all is well. And we go in and out for the final time through this door. Actually, no, this is the second to final time. There's one more, actually. So now we're back in, we have this complicated sequence here. We're going to go forward left. I'm worried that I move my camera here, so I go in and out once just to be safe. Again, this is a fast load, so if you're moving your camera at all on one side, you will move it on the other. You need to not be touching your mouse, really.
Hello.
So, confident in this one, so we're going to go forward left here. Gets us caught on this, and we can jump and go forward in just a moment. And then we get these repeated metal sounds, which means we need to go right a little bit, and then forward. This gets us up the stairs, which has metal and like plank sounds, so it's easy to tell when you're there. We end up by this pot. Sometimes you get a metal sound there, which lets you know you're actually there, but in this case, we just have to trust. Then we go left and forward left here to get down this side of the stairwell. And we're going to go back to some slot machines here. Once I'm here, we're going to go ahead and wait. And we wait to help make sure Benny talks to us, because otherwise he might not. And now we're going to go right. And then we're going to jump here in a moment to get onto the railing and over this table.
I dig this.
You know,
crazy
because you get
slang.
some weird plank type sounds usually. In this case, it took a few seconds,
What
but
in
we
the
got there.
goddamn? Let's keep this.
This makes us always be in a pretty much consistent
making a
position
pass?
when we talk to Benny, so he doesn't move our camera
Did those
weirdly.
bullets scramble your?
So,
You're
we're going to
one
use
sick-
Black Widow to tell Benny about how
I
cool
hear
he
Dick
is and how much we actually really like bad boys. And so,
All
he's going to
right,
go
honey
ahead,
baby,
give
this
us the
is
key
all
to his
kinds of
suite, and
wrong,
head
but
up
to-
there. Now, once he starts moving, I'm going to wait 2 hours. 1 hour is to move Benny. The second hour is to move his guards a little bit. His guards are inconsistent. You can't control what's going to happen with them. It's just kind of hope. So we go forward, followed by right, and then back. All to get more or less in this corner here, which you hit pretty much regardless. And then you go left to grind along this railing. And we're listening for a bunch of weird step sounds for going up the outside edge of the stairs. So I get some plank sounds here that lets me know we're there. And now we can just hold back for a while. And that's going to get us around the countertop. Sometimes you'll get metal sounds for doing that, which is nice because then you know exactly where you are. But otherwise, you just go for an extra little while. And we're going back to the flower pot. You can already see it on the side. It's the perfect thing. Nothing beats the flower pot. So we go ahead, we do some jump checks, and then we're just gonna go over the pot. So, in and out here, same as usual. Nothing changes.
Hello.
And now we're going to go ahead. We're going to repeat that sequence. However, first, I'm going to be interrupted by a cat who's messing with my mouse. Or at least she's trying to. Actually, she does. She moves my mouse slightly here. I didn't notice that in the run, but she moved it perfectly vertically, so it didn't matter. So, we stop to say hi to the cat, give her a little kiss on the head, and drop her down. And now we're back on track. So we're going to go back into the same stairwell as before. But this time, instead of going back out of here, we're going to go to the left out of here. So same sort of strat. Go left off of this fire pot once we think we're in position. And we get these weird metal sounds so we know we're there. So we go left. And now we're going forward left here to get locked in another position. And then from here, we're going to go left, getting us locked in another spot. And then if we go forward from that spot, we're going to basically hit the elevator. We have to take one step to the left to get around it. But we're pretty much there. And so we're upstairs. Now we need to go forward right to get into this door, followed by back right to get into another door. As soon as past me is smart enough to do it. And then forward right again to get to Benny's door. And we'll know we're there because we can use it. So, I line myself up in the corner here, we quick save, and we back out. Sometimes you can't get over that tree very easily, so you do want the save down just to be safe. Once we're in, we're going to jump. We know we're inside because we get plank sounds. If we get metal, we're on the countertop, and so we need to go over. And we get into this forward left corner here. And I do some double checking. We got a short jump, so I know we're on the wall. And so then we go forward right and open his door. And now we're going to go forward left very slowly. And then forward right to help standardize where we talk to Benny.
Benny's gonna show you the tops.
So,
More than you ever
we
dreamed.
show Benny our Yu-Gi-Oh collection, and he's really, really shocked by it, and he's
You're
just gonna die
platinum
from
pussy.
that, because
Nice
it's
job.
crazy.
Oh, that was an...
Like, we show him
Hold on,
our
will ya?
really, really
swear
cool
you won
magical
the ad.
musket deck, and he just has no clue what to do with it.
Huh? Oh!
So, we kill him in his sleep, and now we're gonna crouch and walk to the left. Benny's body falls in inconsistent positions. However, if you crouch and walk over, you get it every time. It has yet to fail. So we loot his body for the platinum chip. And now we're going to go forward until I get these really rapid jumps that let me know I'm on the dresser. We're going to level up speech again. And then quickly double check that we are where I think we are by jumping. And then we go forward right, getting us to this door, which we will open. Forward right again, followed by forward. And if you listen, I get repeated metal sounds in this doorway. This doorway is the only place you get those in Yes Man's room. So then you can go right off of that to get into the corner behind Yes Man, and then turn and talk to him. Since we're talking to Yes Man and we're doing it from the same position every time and he doesn't move, this camera angle is actually consistent.
Allow me to introduce myself.
So, to talk to Yes Man, I need to take the top dialogue option 7 times, and then take the second dialogue option once, followed by the top option again, and then I can
That's just a guess. There are 2 locations.
So I'm kind of slowly going through the dialogue here so I can count out how many times I've talked to him. But basically, Yes Man is telling us all about the plan to kill Mr. House and take over the strip and meet all the families. And we're going to say that that's really cool, and we want to do that.
Given how you're in... By the time you finish
So
all
after
of that-
7 top dialogues, I'll take the second one.
Oh no, I didn't mean... What I meant... You
And then
know,
the top one again, so he'll tell me about the tribes that I need.
There's a bunch. I think you should... And there are some important...
And once we've done that, we can leave.
Don't stay away too long.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and go forward right here, followed by forward, and we're just kind of weaseling our way through this door and then over to the far corner of the room from here. It's pretty easy to do as long as you do a mix of like forward, forward left, forward right to check for different things. So that's why you see me kind of glance along the wall. But then left opens the door. We go right to get off of it, and then forward to the corner, and then left, jump over some furniture. And we get caught on this door, which we can open in a moment. And then from here we go forward, followed by right here in a moment. Followed by forward left. And that's going to get us to the elevator. Sometimes it makes you come up a little bit shy of the elevator because you'll get caught on the plant differently. Not a huge deal. You just kind of wiggle around a bit and go for it. After that, we go left, we jump over this flower pot, and we're just going to hold left until we get out of here. And that is the most technical portion of the run done and dusted. It's that easy. It's really not that bad. Like, it's fine. That's the only place we have to go in and out of so many times, so specifically. Again, it's just the case that if we ever went through the wrong door, our angles would be different, and we would have no way to really know that it happened. Like, at that point, we would have to go outside, go all the way back to Camp McCarran, and go
The eyes
back
of the
through
mighty
everything to
Kaiser are
get to
upon
the
you.
strip again.
Any crimes you may have.
And there's just no
My
way
lord
that
requires
happens.
your... Seek Kaiser.
So if Volpez is going to tell us about Caesar, we're going to say cool, but we don't care. I wait a couple of hours here trying to get an NCR guy to show up, who's supposed to tell me about Ambassador Crocker and what he wants from me. He doesn't show up, so we just go ahead and go back inside to reset our angle once more. And now what we're doing is we're going to look at Yes Man to kind of line up our sound. I kind of forgot that we are further to the right here than I thought. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into that gate to my right by lining up with the Yes Man sound. If you listen to the Securitrons, you can kind of line it up decently well, provided your initial angle was good. Mine was not. I was further left than I thought I was. And so you see me kind of flounder around here for a second. But soon enough, I'm going to go back to Yes Man. I just try to dial it in a bit using the fountain of the Securitrons. But I'm not getting the sounds that I need, and I'm getting caught on all this rubble, so we waste some time here. Not a big deal. It happens.
It's the law, girl.
Self-control is a virtue.
Although I do get very close. Now, eventually, I
Hey,
actually
you
do
there. I
somehow
have a message
manage to
for-
get myself
from
back into the tops here.
Hello.
Or at least I get very close to it. Eventually, later in the run, I actually end up back in the tops at one point, which is really sad. But it is around here where I give up, especially since I got talked to by the NCR guy. There is no way I could know what my camera angle was. So we gave it our best try. We had no chance.
Hey, you there.
GG's, go next.
It's from
Now this time we get talked to quickly while we're still by Yes Man, so it doesn't matter, we can line up with Yes Man. And I assume based off of how things went last time, we were probably too far to the left because we had a bunch of grass sounds. So this time I favor the right. And sure enough, we're gonna get inside. So then we turn around and we're just gonna go right back through. This just makes it easier to get to the other door. There's other ways you can get to that door without doing all of this. But if they go correctly, and this goes correctly, this is faster than those ways. If we mess up this, it's slower than the other methods, but it's more consistent than they are, even though it doesn't look like it here. It's actually more consistent and it's faster. But there are backups. So once we're in, we go to the right. We're listening for Victor up ahead of us. So we can hear him. And so we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump forward,
Howdy, partner.
listen
Good
for
to see
him, go over and talk to him.
Come back soon now.
So he's going to let us go in to see house. We're going to wait for the doors to open first. And then we're just going to right on in. So now that we're in house, we need to go up to the penthouse, which is no big deal. We just need to talk to Victor. I messed this up for a moment because I get caught in this little divider. It happens. You try to jump over it, but sometimes you just can't quite get there. And it's really painful because Victor is just out of reach. But no big deal. Reload, go again.
Where to, partner?
So, we're going to head up to house, and now we need to kill house. This actually isn't that bad.
Penthouse.
So we're going to hold left out of the elevator. This is going to get us caught on house's, like, computer. And then from there, we're going to hold backwards. I wait until none of my sounds are changing, and since I always have the same Securitron sounds, I know I'm not moving. So we back it up, and we're going to get to this wall over here. Once we're at the wall, we can go to the right, and we can actually hear this terminal ahead of me, so I can know I'm in the right spot, so I'll save, and then use it. We take the top options to open up the antechamber. And then what we do here is I go to the right side of the options window, because the right side of the options is mostly in line with where the terminal button is, so it makes it much easier to get out. Otherwise, you spend forever getting through terminals. After that, you just kind of have to go back and then forward right until you think you're in the right position. You're getting shot at the whole time. You don't have time to fully normalize. You just have to know where you're going and what your angle is and do it. Thankfully, as a speedrunner, you do this thing constantly, so it's not that bad. So we go in again, and then we go to the control room. Once we're in here, we need to get our grenade launcher back out. I waste a little bit of time here binding it again. Realistically, we're gonna get it taken away from us at another casino, so there's not really a point in doing it. It's just kind of like old habits tell me to bind it here, even though we don't need to. So, we get it out, and we're going to go forward left to reach the terminal. If we just go forward here, we'll slide off the terminal and lose a bunch of time. I've done that plenty. But we can hear it in front of us, so we're going to crouch down and use it. Get messed up on the options a bit. We open it up. Again, slide off the right side to reach the button, because they're mostly in line. And the button is decently sized. Stand up, shoot, kill house. You'll know he's dead because the alarms turn off. Thank you, Hanuma, for that one. Then you put the grenade launcher away, back up, and take the doors outside. And so with that, we just need to leave. So we're going to go forward right to reach these windows, and then I'm going to start going right just to speed up a little bit. You can go forward right the whole way, but going right speeds it up and it gets you to the same spot, provided you were far enough forward to begin with. Once we're in there, we're going to go back. And basically to get out, we have to hit these tiny little stairwells, which is really difficult to do actually. Like, hours were spent in here trying to figure out how I could even get out. It's the worst. Like, I've been stuck in this room for 40 minutes at a time blindfolded because I didn't have a way to get what I needed. Now, it's pretty consistent. So we go back, then forward left to this, and now we're going to go forward to this little table. And we could go straight back right here. Sometimes you miss, though. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go forward right first because this is easier to do. And then as long as we go backwards before we're all the way up the stairs, we can go back here, and that gets us up this stairwell. And then from here, we're going to go left. You're actually going to see the elevator pass right by me, but we're not close enough to use it, and there's no way for me to know when we're there. So it just happens. But then we get along this railing, and we're going to go backwards, and this will actually stop us directly ahead of the elevator. And so then all we have to do is step forward. Use the bottom option to get out. Easy. It is free as can be. So we're going to get outside, and we have 2 more things to do on the strip before we're done. First of all, we're going to go see the Gamora, because that's going to line us up for our next section, and we need to meet them for Yes Man. We get a weird drop sound here, which lets us know we're in the right spot, so we're going to go left, and then forward off of this railing to reach the Gamora. We will know we're close because there's a big fire overhead. And then all we have to do is go right, and that'll use the door.
Hey,
if we'd gone further forward, you just get caught in that corner. I just went a little early.
Then get the fuck out of here.
So we say, never mind, that qualifies as meeting them. Now we're just going to walk forward and jump a little to get over that. And then that gets us to the door.
Sure, later.
Now, I do mess this up a little bit. Going through, I just kind of literally forget some of the inputs for a moment. Thankfully, you can sound this one out decently well. But you're meant to go forward right here to the metal, and then you start going forward off of that. I kept getting onto it for longer than I thought, and so that leads to issues like this, where I kept getting caught in this area. And I can hear the Securitron here, but I keep mistaking it for the Securitron that's actually at the gate to get out of New Vegas. So, honest mistake, these things happen. We're going to get caught here for a few minutes while I figure that out and reset a little bit. Sadly, I get really close. It just doesn't happen like that. Like, it is painful how close I get. But then you get caught in here, and that's the mind destroyer. If you're caught in this thing, you think that you're back, like, at house somehow, and it just doesn't make sense. So, as close as I was, as painful as that is, we have to reload. So this is going to take a few attempts. I'm going to let it rock. Just know that I'm trying to essentially bounce off of this railing to go over toward the door, and then from there, get out. But I just keep overcooking the inputs.
Please do not stand in the fence.
You know, some people call this ASMR, not me. I call this hell. Like, look at this. Look at and you have no way to know. You got nothing. Part of me says we should probably get a better route for this. The other part of me says, again, quite literally, this just happens. Sometimes you're blindfolded and you're not super familiar with the run entirely, and so you forget an input. It happens. I've had runs where I just go left instead of right, or right instead of left, or usually not forward instead of backwards. But sometimes I'll forget to go forward or to go backwards. But around here, I do start to finally figure out where I am, and we get out. Because that's more like what's supposed to happen. It's still not perfect. I'm supposed to go further forward there at the end. I got a little bit anxious, but it worked out. So now we need to go ahead and discover the strip gate.
So
Since we went out through there, they're not going to
Goodbye.
credit check us or anything. It's all good. We talked to old Ben so he doesn't talk to us later. And now that we've done that, you might think it's time to go to the Boomers. It's not. We have a job to do in Vegas still. So our cursor is entirely thrown off from Vegas, sadly. And then I can't use that one. I assume I can't use it because of a Freeside Thug. I didn't think I was actually getting the North Vegas gate. Or the North Freeside gate, rather. So you see me back up a bit just to kind of double check that we're okay. That resets the mouse, though, and so I end up getting it without even really meaning to. And so I know we just left the strip, but I actually need to go back. I forgot my car keys, actually. And so we're going to go ahead and head inside. Now, the reason we need to do this is because we need to go to the Ultralux. And the Ultralux is simultaneously easier and worse than the Tops. It's easier in that we only have to go in there once. It's really bad in that the rooms there are designed by absolute architects of evil who hate everything about me. And it makes it really, really difficult to get out of the Ultralux through the same door every time. But if we have a fast travel point to go to, well, then it doesn't matter what door we went out of, because we can go to the fast travel point to normalize. And so we got the North Vegas gate first, so I could use that to normalize. So we cross over there, nothing too interesting, and now we're going to go back left to get into this corner, and now we're going to go forward right. I'll know I'm going the right way because I'll get some metal sounds from stepping over a car here. And so once we do that, we go forward left to get into the corner of this building. There is a little metal bar next to me. I need to be on this side of the metal bar, but I do a couple of little normalizing movements to make sure that I'm there. And then I back up. As soon as I'm certain that we're there. So we quick save to be sure, we'll back up, and then we go right over the car so we know we went the right way. If you don't go over the car, you were on the other side, and it's not going to work. So we go right back here until we get repeated metal. That tells us we're in the corner by this door. And now if we slowly jump to the right, it'll basically be the case. My headphones were kind of falling apart there for a second, so I had to fix them. They're held together by tape, so you can tell what my life is like. But we go forward, or sorry, just right here until we get a ground sound instead of a metal sound. And if you turn right from that,
Beg your
that
pardon,
is the
but
only door you can pick. And it's
My
the
deepest
only door we
apologies for
want.
the slightest
So
inconvenience.
it's same
But we
door
simply
every
can't-
time, perfectly
Please.
consistent.
Farewell.
So we're going to give up our guns again. And now we're going to go to the right. And basically, we need to get to the back of the casino to talk to a guy named Mortimer. Learn that he kind of scares us. And we're just going to leave and never come back. So we go to the right to start. And then we're going to go forward right after tapping left a little to get around there. I get these repeated metal sounds. So that lets me know that we definitely got to the right area. We go forward right again. You're going to see me tap left again and go forward again. And then tap right and go forward again. You can get caught on different parts of these pillars depending on how exactly you slide on them. But you'll always know if you got to the teller back here because he'll say hello to you. Just like that. So that tells us we got to the right spot and we're going to get back into this corner. Now once we're in this corner, I'm going to put down a hard save actually. Because we have a 50-50 shot here if we get to do the strategy we want to do easily. Basically, there is a door to our right. We really want that door to be closed. If it's open, we're going to have to close it ourselves, and NPCs can get in the way of that, as you're about to see. So I go to the right for a while, and usually you get a metal sound here. I didn't get it this time because of how exactly we moved. But since I got in here and I didn't hear anything and I tried to interact and I can't do anything and I can hear a chair next to me, I know that we ended up in this area. So we're going to go ahead and reload that hard save. And so now we're going to go ahead and slow walk back to the right. while spamming E to close the door ourselves. That way we can get where we want to go. Now, sadly, wait for it, we have an NPC who opens the door on her own, which means we move out of position, which means we need to reload now. So I'm going to reload here, and I'm going to wait an hour to move her. And then now we can go ahead and close the door and get the angle we want. So we can go off of here, close the door. It slams to put us back into our spot. And then now we can open the door. And we're going to go forward right to get this back corner. And then if we go backwards from this corner, we're going to end up in a nice little nook on Mortimer's counter where we can talk to him. Now, Mortimer can be in one of 3 positions, and all of them change your angle a little bit, which can change how you get out of the Ultralux. There is nothing you can do about that. He simply exists in different spots. So, I put down a hard save here just so we can double check things. And I'm going to look to the left and talk to him. The positions always come from looking to the left. We got the close position, no way to really know. And so I go forward right here, and we're trying to get back into this back corner, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip through the wall. And by clipping through the wall and getting out of bounds, I'm going to end up hitting what's called the COC, or the center on cell plane. Basically what that does is it teleports you back to a predetermined part of the game, or of the area you're in, rather, to get you to, like, you know, keep you from getting stuck out of bounds, essentially. And in this case, it's right by the door to get outside. So I'm trying to get through here. I can't really get the clip. Timing these quick save, quick load clips when you can't see is really difficult. And so I mess it up a decent amount. You don't want to spam it too much, because if not, you can get caught with a bad angle. And also, they're bound to my mouse, which means they're really kind of difficult to hit really quickly without moving my mouse sometimes, or at least a little bit. And so you're going to see me reload the hard save here, just to be extra safe, and try again.
How may I be of service?
So I got to look to the left and talk to Mortimer again.
Indeed.
And then we're going to go again. I will know if I got the clip, because there will be a drop sound after I go through it. So we're doing the inputs correctly here, but I'm just, you know, double checking, trying to normalize into this corner as much as I can, because sometimes you can get caught on the bookshelf, you can get caught on a little sign. But I go for it again. If I had been going just a little bit faster on these, I would have gotten through. But blindfolded, you just kind of, you feel it out, right? It's funny because as speedrunners, we talk about the fact that you can't really see when you speedrun Fallout New Vegas if you're doing any %, because you're constantly having to do quick saves and quick loads to do things. The one frame of information you get tells you so much. Like, you see more than a frame, but you see like 10 frames of information every second, and that's enough to let you know everything. When you have nothing, you really are just hoping. Like, in this case, I'm in the wrong corner. Technically, you can kind of get out through any corner here, but this is not the usual corner. But we get our drop sound, so I know we're in the right spot, and then all we have to do is go left and jump. And that gets us one of 3 or 4 different doors. Again, doesn't matter what door we get, though, because all we have to do is fast travel back to the strip. Now, sadly, I fast traveled McCarran, but given that I didn't move the map, I know we're in this upper section. And so, soon enough, I realize, okay, this is McCarran. I need to go up from McCarran to reach the strip. Now, sadly, I go a little bit up and to the right, and I again get caught on that Freeside North gate without realizing it. And so that kind of confuses me. It doesn't help that I'm also wondering at this point if my keyboard or my mouse is messing up again like it did back at RepCon. That was kind of a looming thing in my mind since then. So you see me wait here to double check. We get another fast travel. This one kind of so fast that it threw me off for a second. But eventually we're going to get back to the strip. It doesn't take too long. You know, if this dumbass would just take care of it already. I don't know if it happens here or later in the run, but I think I actually end up going inside McCarran just to double check. No, it's not here. Okay. So, the strip is obviously easy to know when you're here because you have all the Securitrons and everything. Like, the sound profile here, you should recognize. But we need to go inside and then go back out. This next strategy is a little inconsistent because there's a Securitron to my left. Sometimes he will bump you in a bad way, so you don't get up here. But you'll know if you got up here because you get a drop sound like this. Once you get that, you can start going forward right. I get caught on this little lamppost here. It's a really rare thing that can happen. If it happens, you kind of just go for a while, because normally you'd be on that fence to my right. And if you're on that fence, you get metal sounds. At least sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Depends on what the game wants. Now, going forward right from here, I get a couple metal sounds for this car. That is okay. Because we're just trying to hit this building. And as long as you hit this building, then you just have to go forward. Now, you don't necessarily know when you hit the building. If you get those metal sounds, just go for a bit further and then go. But you can go forward right there really as long as you need to, and then just go forward. And it will always drop you off the same angle, where if you just go forward and press E, you're going to get through Freeside. I have backups for it as well that don't rely on the Securitron and everything, but they're slower. And this works really decently often, so we go with it. So I'm going to jump here because we have all these cars in our way, and also this railway blocker. If we don't get over them properly, we have to kind of, you know, mess with our jumps a little bit, but they're decently easy to do. We're going to get outside. Now, once we're out here, I actually have a mortal enemy in Freeside. For those who have seen any of my speedruns, I've started killing this food vendor like probably a year ago at this point, because I just don't trust him. I'm pretty sure he's poisoning the community and is an awful person. And so it doesn't matter, like, if I'm trying to PB or whatever, he's got to die. And so I'm going to take out my grenade launcher. We're going to go forward, look to our left, and we just get rid of him. Alright, and then we'll just fast travel back out, and we'll go in and out. And our next objective is to go meet the boomers. To do that, we first need to get to the Crimson Caravan Company. Now, getting out of this little part of Freeside can be really rough. The collisions can be awful. There's this little shack here that you can just get caught in like this. And so I have about 5 or 6 different ways of doing it, just depending on how the game is feeling, because it's Fallout New Vegas and collision is weird. In this case, I can hear that none of the sounds around me are changing, so even though I can jump, I know I'm not going anywhere. So I know something's wrong, but I don't know what. This chain is going to continue for a few minutes, and then finally I'm going to go to like the nuclear option backup strat. So you'll hear from me in a moment when that happens. Until then, I'm basically just messing up and trying to infer what I think is going on as a result. I get pretty close to Crimson Caravan a couple of times like this, but I end up on the wrong side of the wall, or I'm just not where I think I am. So it takes a couple minutes here. I'm gonna let it rock. You'll probably get some interjections from me as I think about how stupid I am. Also, you see this stone in front of me? If not for this, we could skip Crimson Caravan. We don't actually need Crimson Caravan, it's just the convenient launching point for our next objective, which is New Vegas Medical. If this big rock wasn't in front of me, or I guess this big concrete, we would have a pretty consistent way of just getting to New Vegas Medical. Now, I get around it here, but getting around it consistently is a bit of a different story. I don't really trust it. So, something to work on, perhaps, but for the most part, going to Crimson Caravan isn't that bad. It's just, I messed it up for quite a while here. The main idea is you're supposed to use the kings in this area, as well as what's around you, to kind of infer where you are in relation to them, and use that to get to Crimson Caravan, because it's a pretty big fast travel point, and it's easy for it to catch you. But I just keep messing it up. So, is what it is. At least the kings are here to keep me company.
Hey.
But to give you a little idea while we're waiting of the overall place we're at in the run, we're actually pretty close to the end. Things go a little bit wrong that take a lot of time later. This is one of those things.
Time to lay low, you asked me.
But basically what we have left from here is we need to go meet the boomers, which is just saying hi to them. And then we need to go meet the Brotherhood, which is just shooting a grenade at them. And after that, we need to go talk to Yes Man, tell him we did everything. He's going to show us a presentation, which is really not that interesting, especially Blindfolded. He's going to ask us if we care about Kimball. We're going to say, nah, don't care. He's going to send us to go unlock El Dorado Substation, which we do. And then we just have to go through the dam. And that's it. So our list of, like, major events is, like, 5 things at this point. It's just, you know, you get stuck like this sometimes. So this is probably around the time I give up again. But me with the blindfolded on is a different beast. This dumbass will ram his head into anything. So here I'm kind of debating my next move. In this case, I'm going to go with the true backup, which is to go VATS. Look at them, and then we're just going to go past them and then go forward right. That is risky because you don't necessarily know which one VATS is going to target and whether or not you'll reach Crimson Caravan before you get caught on the wall. But it is a backup strategy, pretty low investment, might as well try. And it worked. So once we get here, all we have to do is go forward, head directly across. We do not want to talk because this guy will talk to us at night and it'll stop us and move our camera. But once we're past the Brahmin, we can start spamming interact. We hear their hooves on the ground, so it's pretty easy. Then we get out, we jump so we can get over this car. That gets us Crimson Caravan. Or, not Crimson Caravan. New Vegas Medical, my apologies. So we get New Vegas Medical. It also has no sound profile. You can step forward to go inside to double check, but otherwise it has no profile. Speech is done, so we're going to start leveling up medicine. Again, 5 from the top. I pick educated, just throwing something out there. As long as it isn't intense training, it's fine. Intense training is a whole nother menu we'd have to deal with. And now we're going to go forward right. So we knew it was New Vegas Medical because it's the only real no sound place there. And if we go forward right and we don't have the Mole Rat Ranch show up with this Brahmin, then we know we're at the wrong spot. Pretty easy. But so we get here and we go right through and we're aiming for this rock face that goes along the northern border of the map. Now we're going to have to jump over a railing here in a moment to get through that. But to give you kind of the overall thing we're going to do here, we're going to go along this rock face to reach a shack, and that's our next jumping off point to reach the boomers. However, as we're going through this rock face, I need to be careful how I move, and particularly how I jump. If I jump at the wrong point, I will actually soft lock myself because there's little bits of collision here that can do that. If it happens, not a big deal. You go back to a quick save and no worries, it is what it is. But so you're going to see me back up, go to the right, go forward right, jump occasionally to make sure I'm not stuck. I've got a hard save here to be extra safe. And so then we just kind of start going, again, using a mix of backwards, right, and forward right to go around the rocks. Now, basically, you might be thinking, well, why don't you just step back and go to the right instead of going forward right like this? The next spot that we're aiming for is actually really small. And so if you're not right along the rock face, it's really easy to miss the fast travel marker. And we need that fast travel marker to get our next angle. So it's kind of non-negotiable that we get it. But it's not too bad to get. It's not super far you have to go. I end up going back to the ranch here. You know it's the ranch because you'll usually get into combat with the Brahmin again. Additionally, where we're trying to go, there's a little fire back into my right. And if I can hear that fire, then I know we're in the right spot. Now, I didn't remember if we had put a quick save down, but you put down an autosave anytime you fast travel, so I was able to go back to that. So right there, I could hear the fire to my back right. So now we can go forward and get in here. We're going to take a little nap for safety. It's pretty free to do. And even if you mess up like getting the door here, the shack is pretty forgiving. So we get back in the shack, we're going to quick save, and now we're going to go to the right. So when you go to meet the boomers, before you meet them the first time, they fire a warning shot at you. And that warning shot can actually be repeated by walking back through the same spot multiple times. Whenever the warning shot triggers, the game starts a roughly 7-second timer before you start getting bombarded. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to get right on the trigger, and I'm going to count to 3. And then after counting to 3, I'm going to go to the right. And as soon as the first shot fires, I start going forward. And jumping. Jumping is just to make me a little faster so I get out of there a bit sooner. In this case, I'm a little bit to the left, which isn't so good. But it's okay. All that gets you into this corner, which is safe, and eventually the boomers are going to stop firing at me. And you can also start going forward right. Forward right from here is going to get you to the boomers. I can hear that I had a limb broken because of my weird steps, so I heal that up. And then we go forward right. And we're basically going to be going forward right all the way along this fence, occasionally going just right or occasionally going just forward to help us move a little bit faster and get around places where you get stuck on the fence. But ultimately, it's a lot of this, because it's hard to know exactly when you're stuck, and you don't want to do too many other inputs, because if you go just to the right, you can end up back in the firing zone, which you definitely don't want, or you might even skip over their door. And if you go just forward, well, you're not going to go anywhere. You're actually going to go away from what you want. And so you kind of have to bank on forward right for the most part, just for safety, even though, as you can see here, it can kind of cost you time. The good news is, if you're going along this properly, you should be getting a mix of metal as well as dirt. So at times like this, where I'm getting repeated metal sounds on my feet, that means I'm definitely stuck. And so I can start trying to figure out how to get unstuck. Usually the answer to that is to go fully to the right. Occasionally you'll see me stop as well. When I stop and don't move at all, it's because I'm trying to listen for the boomers. Definitely watching this back, we could speed this up quite a bit. I could probably do just a full rhythm of backwards, right, forward, right, in just a small cycle, and that would handle it. So like right there, I stopped to listen for the footsteps, but I couldn't hear any, so I know we need to keep going. The boomers are pretty loud usually, so it's not usually a big deal. You know, they're boomers. They're not known for being quiet. They blow things up. It's what they do. It's how they live. So here I get a little bit worried that maybe I'm caught on something else, so I go left for a bit. They have some sandbags and whatnot kind of around their door, so I get a little worried about those. Or maybe that I overshot or something. But eventually I end up back on the right track. It's just, again, a bit of time waste here. So we get the repeated metal again, so I know we're in the wrong spot. I will say, around this time, I was definitely starting to lose my faith a little bit. And I was worried we weren't going to get it. But then I started to hear their footsteps, and it's like, okay, we are in the right area, though. So no big worry. So we're just about at the gate. We just got to take one little step back and go right. Try to jump it, doesn't really work for me. Come on, just one little extra button. There it is.
Hold it right there. Don't you move. How the hell did you survive? I'm not telling you.
So he's gonna yell at us. We're gonna go, and he's gonna wait for Raquel.
I'll take this from here.
She's gonna come over
Raquel.
and just be like, "Yeah, I'll have you go meet our leader."
Follow close.
We go, okay. Pearl is going to
Welcome,
try to
child.
tell us that we need to care about
I've
the
been
boomers
waiting
and
a
do stuff for them. We're going to say we've seen enough,
Oh.
and we're going to leave.
Should that go well,
But we do have to act like we're interested first.
I'll send word. You picked a Raquel, or you could come and go.
Morning.
So she said come and go as we like. We're going to turn around. We're going to leave. It's that easy. Now that we're out, we're going to go ahead and we have to get back to Hidden Valley. To do that, I'm actually trying to get back to Sloan. The reason I want to get back to Sloan is because Sloan, again, has a really good sound profile because of Snuffles. We definitely know where we are when it happens. In this case, I super overshoot that. I thought I was back at, like, New Vegas Medical, not Camp McCarran. So we get attacked here for a second. Not a big deal, just a little time loss. I have to load back an autosave since I'm pretty sure my quick save's not in a good spot. And so we go again. Interestingly, the game didn't put a quick save down when I fast traveled from McCarran. Sometimes it'll just do that. Don't know why, it just happens. It's Fallout New Vegas, that's how it works. So I know this is the shack because of the little fire next to me. And so I try to use that. We get Mole Rat branched because I just don't realize that I'm not going as far down on the map as I think I am. So I hear that it's the Brahmin. I know definitely where we are. Go ahead, we load back the quick save because I was smart enough to make sure I put one down this time. But sadly not smart enough to realize where I actually am. End up here, which has no sound profile, which is really sad. I'm listening just to see if I can pick up anything, but it's not really going that way. Occasionally you'll see me do this, where I just kind of sweep along. The goal of the sweep is to try to identify clusters of things. Right there, if I'm remembering my thought process correctly, I thought I was maybe all the way at Yangtze. Definitely wasn't. Didn't go far enough south. So I thought I was in that cluster, not the
Any
northern
lawman that
cluster.
comes after me won't have
In this
me-
case, I hear my powder gangers, and there's only 2 of them, so we know it's Hunter's Shack. So that means if we go directly down from there, we get Sloan. So we can hear Snuffles, we know where it's Sloan, and now I'm going to wait for nighttime. The reason we want to wait for nighttime is because we want to be able to hear the Hidden Valley defense mechanism going, and that goes at night. So we need to be able to hear that. We know it's night because we can hear the crickets. So we get nighttime, we quick save, and then we're just going to head to the right to get Hidden Valley. Once we're here, we're going to wait for the bark scorpions to get close to us, and then we're going to shoot our beat. We had to use 2 there. That's not really optimal. Just, you know, not what we would want, but hey, it worked out. I'm going to fast travel back to reset my camera just for safety. Go forward right. I realize that my leg is broken though, so we have to fix that up. Broken legs reduce your speed and they mess up your angles, so there's no choice, you must heal them. Plus they're slow. Or so I'm told. So we go forward left here until we get repeated metal sounds from this. And then from there we can go backwards. That's going to get us stuck right next to the door. And so we're going to take a little step to the right and then go back again. I'll get a weird drop sound if I'm on the door. Like that. And so we just go in. Once we're inside, we can go ahead, head down. We'll get another weird drop sound on this door. Like that. So we open the door, take out our grenade launcher, and now I'm going to jump forward slowly until I'm not on metal anymore. So there's our metal. We get off of that. I'm going to quick save, look up slightly to angle our grenade better. And the goal here is to walk forward enough to trigger the Brotherhood, and then step backwards through the door while we fire a grenade launcher. It's difficult to know whether or not you've gotten it in the moment sometimes. It's just whether or not you can identify different sounds. Sometimes you'll get metal sounds from the stairs if you make it through, so that tells you something. Sometimes you can hear the Brotherhood stepping. And if you hear them stepping, well, then you definitely didn't make it through, so that tells you something.
Listen very closely. Hand over everything you...
So he talks to us here.
You don't see...
We're going to go ahead and just skip out of that dialogue. This was just me double checking some stuff. So reload, go again. There is a backup strategy for this. The backup strategy, quite honestly, isn't that much slower. But if you get this correctly, it's pretty fast, so I don't worry about it. Plus, this is pretty close to what Glitchless does. I mean, Glitchless does this faster, but it's pretty cool to do it this way. I'm kind of a fan, and we gotta have something cool. So we go through that, fast travel away. I end up at Whitaker, which I know because we have a bunch of stepping powder gangers. And so just by like their volume, I can guess where we are. Sadly, I don't go up far enough from them. So we go ahead, head to Hunter's Cabin, just kind of check. We know this is Hunter's Cabin though, so if we go up from that, we get McCarran as number 1. And then if we go up from that, it would be New Vegas again. This is just me kind of double checking though. I get worried for a moment that maybe I went to like a side part, like maybe I went to the North Freeside Gate or something. But eventually we infer it and we get where we want to go. Sadly, we get this weird McCarran retravel, which is kind of sad, but we get out of it soon enough. The fast travel map in this game is really finicky. Sometimes you'll be right on top of something and it just says, no, you can't have that. Other times that thing is off screen and it says, yeah, sure, go there. But we get back to the strip, and at this point we've met everyone, and so we just need to go talk to Yes Man. So double check that my grenade launcher is put away. And so all we do here is we go forward, left, and then forward to get back to the next part, and then we're going to go say hi to Yes Man by bouncing along the walls.
Sure, later.
So we go a little bit forward here. Doesn't matter how far forward you go, just a little bit. Don't go too far. Then we go to the right, all the way to the wall. We need to back off the wall a little bit because you can get caught on it, and then go forward. I actually got really close to these, and you can get caught on those, but no harm, no foul, right? No issue. So we go forward here, and all we're doing here, we're going to eventually go forward left a bit, just kind of make sure we're as cornered as possible. And we're listening for Yes Man to turn on his little tire. Yes Man, you know, he sits around on one tire as a Securitron, and he likes to, like, spin around and do tricks. And you can actually hear him on his tire. Yep, so we could hear his little tire there, so I know where I am. Go around, wait until I can hear him really well,
Hi again.
and then we talk to him.
Of
So we're
course,
going to tell him
ask
about the
away.
tribes. Quickly spam through
Then
this, saying that we
consider
don't care about
that's-
any of them, and they can all be ignored.
If you... That's... You got it. That's... Say no more. That's 4... Okay.
And with our last one, they are done. That is always the part of the run that is the most
Mr. House
relieving,
is
by
out
the
of
way.
picture.
I live in mortal fear of the times where I mess up meeting the Brotherhood or I don't meet the cons. It would be the worst. So from there, we're trying to go back through this gate again. I again kind of mess up inferring exactly where I am at first, but we get there soon enough. Given my previous mistake in the run, I kind of have a memory that, like, okay, I'm probably a little bit to the left. And what ends up happening here is I actually end up taking the door into the tops here pretty quickly, because I don't realize where I am. But once I take that door into the tops, everything kind of clicks into place, and I know what's going on. So give it just a moment. This happens right around here. And just given the movements that I did, and that's the door I went through, I go out here, I run by the fountain. The fountain would only be gotten at this angle by the tops. So I can infer that, and that kind of tells me everything else I needed to know about the angle I have from Yes Man. Again, these are decently small areas with a lot of sound information. If you know what to do with it, you tend to be able to know where you're going. So I kind of realize I'm probably to the right as opposed to the left, and so soon enough we get in. I just kind of take it slowly. Like that. So we go ahead, go back through, and we're just going back up into the Lucky 38.
The recent disturbance at
So,
the tops.
get to the Lucky 38.
Do not be afraid to mention
And we're gonna listen to Yes Man's presentation as he replaces replaces house. And with that, we are really within about 20 minutes of the end of the run at this point. Again, should have been much faster. I do kind of lament that, but hey, it happens. So penthouse is always the second option here. It teleports us to listen to Yes Man. This is going to be a little loud for a second, so, you know, if you're used to speedruns, you know how it is. Yes Man's really loud when he does this. Just be ready for it. So he tells us all about Mr. House's stuff.
Step closer to the
We gotta go in
demonstration
here.
area, please. Okay, so
And you're gonna see me wait and quick save and quick load here. This does two things. So waiting replaces the animations that the Securitrons are doing, because they're performing those animations during that hour that we wait. And quick saving and quick loading is skipping Yes Man's dialogue.
here is
And so by doing that, we get through this rather quickly. At one point, Yes Man doesn't talk for a minute, and I get a little worried, so I stop for a second. But overall, it speeds it up quite a bit. Like, you save not quite a minute, I think it's like 20 seconds or something you save, but it's pretty good.
the OSF
I don't know what it is in English, actually, because usually this is Italian.
all together.
Yeah, so this is a moment where I wait an extra second, because I'm not sure what's happening.
New Vegas.
As soon as they start firing, I remember, okay, I need to wait through this animation,
I hope you
probably.
enjoyed this.
So, Yes Man brings us out. We get told that the Legion hates us. Oh well. And so we're going to put down a save here to be safe. Getting out of Yes Man from here is very difficult, so pay attention closely, I guess.
You did a
So slow walk
super
forward to
job,
talk
Rap.
to him.
Here's a printout.
He's going to turn our camera really far up, and so we're going to jump when we talk to him.
Here's fake news. I decoded military rip.
A little bit of audio fucking up there.
Anyway,
Just little errors in the recording, but whatever.
fine by me. This
So we tell Yes Man we don't care about President Kimball. He's a nerd.
when this
And so
thing-
we're going to go turn on El Dorado's substation. So we land. I'm a little worried here that I talked early, so I put a save down just in case this messes up. But from there we go back right. Depending on your exact Yes Man angle, it's possible this fails. I have backups in case it does. Worst case, you can actually go back to House's door. But otherwise, you just go backwards. And then you're going to go right. And you're going to get caught in the same spot as before, but you just have to go left. And then turn slightly. And that gets you out. It's that easy. So we get out from there, we're gonna head outside, and then we get to go back to Black Mountain from all the way near the beginning of the run. Because Black Mountain is gonna get us to El Dorado substation. But first we have to get a place we can identify, which thankfully we get Hunter's Farm, so pretty easy to know this is where we are and roughly where Black Mountain should be. So we get Black Mountain, again we know because it has radiation, and we're going to go to the left. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to get caught in a tree. Sometimes you'll get a drop sound here, other times you don't. It depends on how the rocks bump you. In this case we don't get it, no big deal. But you always end up in this tree. It catches you in its loving boughs and says, hey, let's hang out for a second. And then you're going to get out of it, go a little forward, and then you're going to go forward left, and that gets you to El Dorado. The fast travel here is actually like really small, weirdly. Like you can be right on this building and not discover it. And so it can sometimes be a matter of stopping and listening for the NCR and using them to figure out where you need to go. I got a drop off the cliff, so I know that I'm near where I am. I'm just not sure exactly where. Thankfully, the fast travel does kind of extend around the building a little bit, so getting to it isn't too bad.
For a nuclear winter.
Now we have to wait here for a
Stay out of the
second,
control room.
because this gal's going to talk to us. She's going to say, hey, don't go in there, and we're going to say, I don't know, I want to go in there.
Just stay out
The power
of the control
transmission
room.
And so we're going to go ahead and head inside. Sometimes NCR are in here, and they will shoot at you, and you'll have to do this really quickly. In this case, we get nobody, so we're pretty safe. But forward right, go backwards, turn around, use the computer, take the second option, and then forward right and forward forward right again, gets you outside. First, we're going to level up some medicine again, though. Then once you're outside, you need to fast travel away really quickly, usually. Sometimes they're pretty chill about it, like here. Other times they attack you on sight and they really hate you. Nothing much to be done about it. In this case, I end up way off course for a second over at Red Rock. Like, I just completely overshoot. And so this is going to cost me for a moment, but not too long. Yeah, definitely as I watch this back, we have a lot more mistakes in this run than I originally thought.
Damn.
But
Running
hey,
low on smoke.
it's a blindfolded speedrun of a game that nobody blindfolded runs. So, you know, I think I'm allowed to have some mistakes, you know, a couple small ones, you know. If you don't like it, do it better. That's going to be my rule. So we go ahead, we're going to go up again. I get a little bit sidetracked by McCarran again here, but eventually we end up back at the strip. And so now all we have to do is go back into house, and we're going to, well, back into the Lucky 38 at this point. And we're going to talk to Yes Man and start up the dam. So get up to this metal again, and then just go left and use the door. It's pretty straightforward. It just takes a little bit of turning. Then go penthouse. We get caught in the little thing again, but we do manage to get out. So we're going to go to the left, and then we just have to back up and kind of look to the left a bit and talk to Yes Man. He's pretty big, so it's pretty easy to get to him, but sometimes you can get stuck talking to the Securitron.
Enjoy your time on the
It's usually not too bad, though.
The recent disturbance at the Tops has been resolved. Do not be advised. The Lucky 30.
Don't you love seeing the Lucky 30?
He is a really good piece of sound, though, to help
Too
you.
bad about excitement. Great. So I've been. It turns out.
So we're going to go ahead, head to the dam, and finish the game.
Well, so what we.
I do a little bit of the
Not the
wrong
whole
dialogue
thing.
here, but no worries.
All you.
It
take
just
this
takes a little bit longer.
Install. Good luck.
It's not open to the general public.
So the dam, originally I thought this was going to be the impossible part of the run, and for a while it felt like it would be. Turns out the thing I found within like half an hour of testing was the solution. I just didn't know it.
Install the override chip.
So we put down a save there just in case we need it, and we're going to head forward left here. As we go, we're listening for the NCR and the Legion to start fighting each other. And they do. They start fighting a little late, but they do get there just in time. Usually it's sooner than that. If it happens too late, you can get caught on that railing, and there's nothing you can really do about it except reload. But in this case, we got what we wanted, which is going along the railing like this. Basically what we're doing here is we're spamming quick save the whole time, because we need to fall down and die like that. But since we have a quick save, it reloads, and we don't take fall damage, as another any percent trick. And so then we get into the water, and we have to jump when we hit the water to make sure we don't go underneath. And so we're going forward right here. Eventually I'm going to start going just right. Forward right speeds up the first part, but if you go for too long, you'll mess up your angle later. It's pretty forgiving though, so take the speed up and then go to the right. Then you'll hit the ground and you need to go for a while longer. It's always deceptively long, so I usually walk much further than I think I really need to just to be safe. But once we think we're in position, we're going to go ahead and put down a hard save, and I'm going to jump a couple times, and I can use my jump height to make sure I'm in the right spot. We do need this save as a backup if our next strat fails. So we get these short jumps, so I know I'm in the right spot, and we can go forward or right from here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to get into a corner with this, like, metal drainage way. We're going to back out of it a little bit, and then I'm going to jump into it. And that's not going to get us all the way up, but we have a little trick to help us. So I do a little extra movement here to try to normalize, make sure we're in the right spot. We go left, and then back, and then forward, jump right into it to get some extra height to start. And then now I'm going to start quick saving and quick loading. As you can see, that's pushing me up this spillway to get over it. And if I'm spamming jump here, I don't have the ability to do anything. Like, I'm not jumping. But as soon as I'm over the top, I'll start jumping again. And so that's going to be what lets me know that I'm over the ledge. So it's spamming jump. We can't go too quickly here. If we quick save and quick load too quickly, we run the risk of clipping through. And if that happens, you have to reload the save. That's why we have the backup save. Once you're through that, you're in here. And I found this within like half an hour of finding, or like getting to the dam. I just thought it was worthless because I didn't think you could get out of here. Turns out at some point, some dev for New Vegas put a ladder over here in the far corner of the dam. And that ladder goes nowhere, but it works and you can use it. So by going forward here, we end up in this corner. I quick save just so we can check, and we're going to turn and use the ladder. Now the ladder is another fast load, so if you're moving your camera at all, it can mess you up. So I reload my quick save here just to be safe. I actually didn't need to. My movement was fine, but I was worried. So we go ahead and do that. Now, there is something really sad here that's not immediately noticeable. Our Securitron is dead, and I'll explain in a moment what that means. For now, we go ahead, we get onto these rocks, and we need to go around these rocks to get to the other side of the spillway. This rock is basically blocking the corner, so you can't just walk around it. You have to go over it. So at this point, what we would normally want to be the case is for our Securitron to be alive. You would actually see him ahead of me falling into the spillway again. Because basically what we're doing is we're going backwards and back right to reach the Legion camp. But we don't have a way of really knowing when we're there. And so what we're doing usually is we're going to the cliff face that is behind the door. So you're going to see the door on my right, and I'm going to keep going backwards. Under normal circumstances, our Securitron is alive, and he will catch up with us only once we are past the gate. So like he would catch up with me right around here. But since he's dead, I just have to guess. And I can guess based off of the sounds I'm getting that there's probably a wall behind me here. So I put down a hard save just to be extra safe about it. And now I'm going to go forward right to use the door. And I'm listening for some weird audio as I go through. So I get kind of that gap in my audio where nothing's happening, so I know I'm inside. This is the other part where not having a Securitron really hurts us. There's 4 Legionnaires in here that are going to try to stop me. If I had my Securitron, the Securitron would help me kill all of them and is really good at it. Or it at least takes aggro while I do the fighting. My problem at this moment is the fact that I have this Praetorian Guard to deal with, but I can't see him. I just have to fire grenades and hope. And so I have to kill him basically while trying not to move my mouse left or right at all. Now, obviously, I turn my mouse left. All right, just a little bit, but that little bit is enough. If I turn my mouse left or right basically at all, no shot. Normally, again, I would fire 1 grenade to aggro him and then let the Securitron do work. But no Securitron, we got to do this all on our own. So I know we're not really where we want to be because the fire sound isn't moving and we never stepped on metal. we always step on metal if we're going inside. So I have to retry this. This does take a little bit of doing. He moves decently consistently at the start of his cycle, and so by firing one grenade and counting to 3, I can usually hit him the second time. Otherwise, if he gets close to us, it's probably just a reset most of the time, because he has a displacer glove, which will always turn your mouse a little bit. Well, it doesn't always turn your mouse, but it can really knock you into a weird position, and you, again, have no way of knowing that that happened. So all you can do is reset. So here, same sort of thing happens. Now, the sound cue I'm looking for is a fire in front of me, so I do try this one a little bit longer in case I got the correct thing and we just happened to miss the metal sound somehow. But it didn't work out that way. So we go again. It's around this time I start considering swapping to my other tactic, where instead of waiting out a timer, I just start jumping and firing, because if I jump, I have a higher angle, so the grenade goes a little bit further without me moving my mouse. Doesn't really work out like that. I tried this strategy where I don't move my mouse back up. Basically, having my mouse down doesn't hurt the way I move. Having it left or right does, but up or down doesn't matter. So rather than, you know, turn my mouse in a particular direction, I go ahead and just leave it down. Sadly, it leads to me getting into the wrong position anyways. But we go here. This is essentially the normal strategy, where you're just trying to put your face into a wall and blast the ground. Sadly, they're a little bit stronger than me, so I die. So let's see. Yeah, this is where I just start spamming. Because really, the first guard is the worst guard. If you can get rid of him without doing anything, you can get the whole thing. So I actually quick save there because I didn't really move my mouse at all, and I was confident enough in that. And so now we go forward, and now we're back on, like, the righteous path. This is what we wanted the whole time. So we get to this fire, and then we're going to go left to get to this cart, and I'm going to crouch, and we're just going to start shooting. We get knocked off of it because of this guy, sadly, so we have to get back into the corner. But by shooting this cart, it keeps our explosions close to us, which is what we want ultimately. And so I'm waiting for 4 enemies to die. Also, by being in this corner, they can't really knock me around. So I hear one die. That's our second one. We are on hyper low HP, but no fear. So we hear him get close to us. We blast again. I know that I'm out of ammo because I'm not reloading, which is really scary, but we did it. They're all dead. So we get back to our fire, and now we're going to go forward left to reach a wall. Chad is having massive anxiety over my health, but I don't care. I can't see it. And now we go off the wall and we go forward. We know we're in the right spot because we get repeated metal sounds. Like that. We go a little right. Go forward. Then we're going to go forward left past another fire. And then we can start going back. I do put a save down just to be safe. The legates can turn our camera in really weird ways that scare us, so we don't want to do that. So we go ahead, we start backing up. This is essentially a mix of backwards and back left and jumping. And eventually you will just get around it. It doesn't take too long. Sometimes you have to guess that you're probably stuck on something, do a little right step, but for the most part, it's back and back left.
An envoy of Vegas, yet you carry yourself.
So he talks to us, we do the second option, and then we do the top option 4 more times,
our roads into end.
followed by the second option, and then we just take the top options to get out. It's a little bit slower to do top all the way at the end, but again, I'm in a blindfold, I'm going to be a little safe.
The east. Your weakness? That does
So we
not.
take our dialogue, now we can just use the top.
The east. Hoover Dam is but a place. As for wisdom, know that if the west. My
And
coming
with
would
this,
have
we
saved
are at the end.
war would violent. Perhaps it until the.
So once that's done, we can go ahead and put a save down, and we're going to go to the left, and as soon as we get a drop sound, we go forward. There's multiple ways to get out of here. This one is more or less the fastest. Now, we actually didn't get it fully here. It's supposed to be that we would go further ahead and actually get past this fence, but we go left and we go forward. That normalizes between which side you fall on decently well. I get to this point and I get a little stuck for a second, but I jump around and that gives me kind of enough sound to know which part of the wall I'm probably on. Just give it a moment. Because I jump and I hear wood. And I know where wood planks are because that's either the cart or it's the table. Now, I think it's the cart here. So I go forward knowing that I'm on the angle. I get the shit scared out of me for a second there. Because I didn't think I was that close and that explosion scared me. But all's well that ends well. Oliver's going to walk up
Caesar
to
on
us.
the cross. And the screens of those speaking of, could use 100 of you. And,
We're going to take the top option just to get Yes Man here. And then we use the top option 3 times,
Guess it
followed
ain't no
by the
secret.
second option, and then the top option again. And that's going to
Who the
make us
hell-
throw Oliver off the dam.
look, you've been
After we do the speech check, we could use
want
a
me to-
different dialogue option
No.
to speed this up a bit. But throwing Oliver off the
Yeah.
dam is funny.
Do you
So,
know what
you know,
think you got
you
the
got to
guts
do what you got to do in this world.
I know what the
Otherwise, we could just take the bottom
So if
option, and that
NCR
would be
comes-
okay.
what the hell? No.
So we throw Oliver off the dam as our big victory power buff.
You did a super. We accomplished.
And we talk to Yes Man, and with the
And
last
so the courier
load
who
screen,
cheated death
the
in
run
the
is done.
cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again.
So if we were
And
to
the Mojave
retime it, it would be
wasteland
more
was
like
forever
a
changed.
210-20,
The courier,
210-21,
with
but
the
I'm
aid of
okay with
Yes Man,
210-22.
drove
I'm not
both the
that worried
Legion
about it.
and the
We're going to
NCR
PB
from
and
Hoover Dam,
blow this thing out of the
securing New
water.
Vegas's independence from both factions.
But
With Mr.
as
House
I'm
out of the
finally
picture,
able to see
remaining
again, catch up
Securitrons
on
on the
chat,
strip were
enjoy the
hard-pressed to
lovely
keep
folks
order.
there, twitch.tv/Karabachi.
Ruled the
Eh?
streets.
Yeah, you could join
When
in.
the fires died,
Appreciate
New
you.
Vegas remained, assuming its
But
position
that's
as
the end
an
of the run.
independent power
I'm going to
in
leave
the
it to
Mojave,
Outro Bachi to
preferring
handle
neither
the
the
rest.
best of the NCR
Thanks for hanging
nor
out.
the worst of the Legion.
So that's the run. And I gotta say, you know, things could have been better, yes, definitely. However, for the most part, I think things went pretty alright. Obviously, we had a few rough points, you know, our Camp McCarran, some of our fast travels, the camp especially, but, you know, for a blindfolded run and the 4th one ever, I think we did pretty respectably. I think sub 2 hour is by far and away possible, provided things go just a little bit better than they did in that run. And I'm definitely going to be going for that over on my Twitch channel at some point, as well as any number of other speedruns, silly little fun runs, and things like that. So if you're interested in that sort of thing and you like this, go ahead, see me over there, see me do this live. This whole YouTube thing, yeah, you know, I throw some stuff on here every now and then, very little at that. But hey, go ahead, subscribe, hang out if you just want to wait for the once in a blue moon where I do something like this. I think this is really a great run, though. I would like to consider doing more with Blindfolded in New Vegas, but it'll be very rough to do. But, you know, things lie on the horizon, maybe even the horizon behind us. Perhaps we could look back in time even further. maybe a Fallout 3 Blindfolded. Or maybe we look forward into a Fallout 4 Blindfolded, which I think would actually be infinitely more difficult, to be honest with you, just given how much it takes to finish that game compared to New Vegas or 3. I think New Vegas was the easiest place to start. I didn't really think of it like that when I started. It was just the one I was the most familiar with, so I figured we'll do that. But it's the most user-friendly, as much as a blindfolded run of New Vegas can be. So I hope you found that entertaining. Like I said, hit me up on Twitch or subscribe here if you want to see me do more of this stuff. And if you want to see that 4-hour unedited version of the original Blindfolded run, I've got the VOD. You let me know, I post that shit. But for now, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for sticking around.